44 years ago, there was not a single golf course in the United States, and Robert Lockhart was arrested for hitting a golf ball in Central Park, New York. The first golf club was organized in 1887 with 7 members. Since then, the game has gained a new player every 13 minutes. Today, there are 4 million golfers in this country playing at 6,000 private clubs and 2,000 public courses, and the National Golf Championships are rated the most important of individual sports. It affords Warner Brothers sincere pleasure to present Bobby Jones in a series of pictures entitled How I Play Golf. After devoting half his life of 29 years to national and international competition, Bobby Jones retired, the first and thus far the only recognized golfing champion of the world, wearing the 4 crowns representing the Open and Amateur Championships of Great Britain and the United States, gained in the season of 1930 in what has been called the Grand Slam of golf, an achievement never approached before and, in all human probability, never to be accomplished again. Bobby has been playing golf since he was 6 years old, competing in major championships since he was 14, and studying the game all his life. Naturally, he has learned something about it, and in making this series of pictures, Bobby's ambition is not only to bestow useful hints on the expert and explain the fundamentals of good golf to the average player and the duffer, but also, and most particularly, to arouse interest in this greatest of all individual sports among those who never have played golf and are unaware of its charms and benefits. Here he is, swinging away on the practice tee, warming up by hitting a few shots with every club, just as he does before the start of a championship.
Well, Lou, I guess that's enough for today. Have a string put on that shaft, please.
Well, Bobby,
Hello, Dick. How are you? Good to see you.
you want a good laugh?
Yeah, what's up?
Well, Frank Craven and Joe Brown are just coming up in the 18th green.
Oh, I know that pair. They play their own private championship every day.
That's right.
Well, let's see that. That ought to be good.
Please don't tell me how to hold my club.
I'm not trying to tell you how to hold your clubs, Joe. I'm simply saying go through them. That's not telling you how to hold them.
Listen, if I need any lessons, we've got a pro here at the club. And I'm just about as good as you are.
Oh, will you please keep quiet, Joe, till I make this shot?
Well, please don't tell me when I'm shooting. Sure shot now.
Look at them, Bob. They're like a couple of bantam roosters.
They said to take it seriously, all right. Do they do that every day?
Every day and far into the night.
Will you please keep quiet, Joe?
Shoot.
That's quite a shot. Which one was that?
That's Craven.
Well, it looks like he'll win this hole. He's stone dead.
Well, if he thinks it, you listen to Joe cry.
Get inside that one, my boy.
Yeah. If you fell in a creek, you'd come out covered with goldfish. Give me a club.
Hey, boy.
It's the first time you've laughed today.
Yeah, you know, the old gag. He who laughs, 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 laughs.
Yes, I've heard it. Watch this one.
Get that right hand over a little more, Joe, I would.
Please, Frank. Let's not talk while we're shooting.
Oh?
Please.
Too bad, Joe. You're in the trap.
I saw where it went.
You should watch that right hand.
Oh, fuff.
Look at Joe now. He didn't care for that shot at all.
Anybody who can half-top a ball and roll that close to the pin is pretty lucky.
Oh, listen to the birdies.
Yeah. You never hear me do any squawking.
No, I know. I'm deaf in this ear. Remember, this is for a box of balls, kid.
All right, give me the niblies and get out of the way.
Boy, what a shot.
Yes, and that makes the situation entirely different, too.
Oh, boy. Some shot. There you are, boy.
Nice day. Don't forget the box of balls.
Now, wait a minute. Going to give me this side.
Give it to you?
Sure, this little one?
You mean conceded?
Yeah.
I made mine, didn't I? Shoot.
All right. All right. That's the way you feel about it. Oh.
Nice putt, Frank. Don't forget the ball.
Well, Frank.
Yeah?
Come here a minute. Frank, I want you to know Bobby Jones.
Oh, how do you do, Mr. Jones?
Glad to meet you, Mr.
I'm
Craven.
glad to know you, sir. Did you see what happened over there?
Sitting it dead with hard luck.
Just that long. The big buzzard wouldn't give it to me.
Well, you know the object of the game is to get the ball into the hole. Those little short putts count just as much as a longer one.
You miss many like that?
Well, I miss a good many, but I practice hard on them.
You do, eh? The little ones, too?
Certainly.
Want to do me a favor?
I'd like to.
Come on over here. Show me how you do those things, will you?
All right, I'll be glad
Dick,
to.
don't you say anything to Joe.
Not a word.
Come with us, Dick?
No, thanks. I'll see you at the clubhouse.
All right. Now, let's start with a short putt, like the one you missed a moment ago.
All right.
Wait a minute. How do you hold your putter?
Oh, the same as all the other clubs with the overlapping grip.
I used to do that myself. But several years ago, I made a change in my putting grip, which has helped me a great deal. If you'd like to try it, I'll be very happy to show it to you.
Well, I'll try anything if it's going to help me.
Well, here. This is my normal grip with every club except this one, overlapping in this way. In putting, I turn my hands until both thumbs are straight down the top of the shaft. And then I change the overlap like this. In this position, the hands are free to work back and forth with no tendency to turn in either direction. I always like to feel the club very lightly in my fingers so that there's not the least bit of tension in either hand or wrist. It is then an easy matter to swing the club straight back and straight through the ball.
That feels great.
I think you'd feel more comfortable with your feet closer together. When you're spread out that way, you set your body like a rock. I always like to stand naturally and just bend over enough to reach the ball. I like to feel a little looseness in my knees. I don't try to putt with my body, but I never try to keep my body still. I like it to be free so it can move if the stroke demands it. You see? Something like this. The whole idea, it seems to me, is to do the thing in the simplest and most natural way. Now, after you get a nice light grip on the club and an easy, comfortable position at address, the next thing is a backswing. And in this connection, it is important that the club be swung back and not lifted. The best way to accomplish this is by using mainly these fingers of the left hand. That keeps the club moving low and inside the line. If the right hand is used too emphatically at this point, it results in lifting the club like this, so that a smooth stroke is impossible. What I like to see is a long, smooth, unhurried stroke which literally sweeps the ball along the green. One of the main things to remember is to be sure that the backswing is long enough for the length of the putt.
That looks easy enough to be able to do. Say, is that Calamity Jane?
Well, this is not the original. The old girl herself been shined so much, her face became untrue. And I had to have this copy made with a straight face. Otherwise, it's the same club. Well, let's have an old ball. Suppose you step over here and hit a few. I'd like to see you do it.
All right.
It's a nice long swing now. That's right. Stroke it straight through toward the hole. That's fine.
Bring me a victim.
Hey, Frank. Come on, pay me that box of balls.
Oh. I'll putt you once, double or nothing.
You what? Okay, I'll be right there. Don't go away.
Here's where I get even.
I think you better leave me out. I'll watch from over here. Come on, Louis.
Is this all? You certainly are a glutton for punishment. Don't want to make it 3, do you?
Sure.
Go ahead, putt.
No, it's your honor.
As usual. Listen for the clink.
Very good. Very good for you, Joe.
Not good, not bad. You'll be about there in 3.
I'll give you your next one, Joe. How was that?
Oh, that was great.
Oh, boy.
Now, see that you don't forget it.
Oh, I won't. And I bet he never does.
Well, just remember that long backswing. And you'll find that your putts always go up to the hole. Never feel like you're hitting the ball. Just a nice, long, sweeping stroke.
Watch for the next episode, the short approach shot to the green in the Bobby Jones series, How I Play Golf. Coming to your theater soon.
Oh, no, it's really a conference. I'm sorry. What's up?
I don't know. Get that? He said something about slicing everything. Yeah. Probably gonna cut our salary.
Here. Look at that. Look at that stance. Look at that. That's great. That's fine. That's perfect. Yeah. But the only trouble is that you can't swing it that way.
Sir? I'd like to see Mr. Elliott. Well, I'm awfully sorry, but Mr. Elliott's in conference. Well, could I see Mr. Halliday? Well, Mr. Halliday's in conference, too. This is their annual meeting, you see, and he left strict orders they were not to be disturbed. And my business is very important. Well, I'm awfully sorry, but it'll be impossible for you to see them. That's a nice way to do business.
Well, Bill and I can beat you 2 birds any day in the week. Yeah? Well, money talks.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Let's take him on this afternoon, Charlie.
Yeah, how about it, baby?
Not all the bragging.
Well, I've got an engagement. Yeah, you would have. I can make it by 1 o'clock.
You've got an 8. Come on, John, clean up that bit. 1
right.
o'clock.
All right. And bring your checkbook, Charlie.
Yeah?
Easy picking.
Yeah? Well, I'll bet you 5, 5, and 5 right now.
Okay.
I'll give you the same.
So, right.
Hello, call the country club. Tell them to have a boy meet me on the 14th green. I want to practice.
Bring your checkbook, eh?
What did I do then?
Well, you looked up on that shot.
Of course I looked up. Come on. Well, why can't I loft the ball more? You know what I mean.
Well, try standing back a little further.
Oh, back of the ball.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
I see. Like this?
Yes, sir.
All right, how's that? Now, why did I shank that to the left? Put down another ball, will you? Oh, what's the matter, Charlie? Oh, hello, Bob. Say, what's the matter with me?
Well, I could see all right why you missed that last.
Why, what's wrong? What's wrong? What am I doing?
Well, Charlie, I came down to practice these little shots myself. Stand over here and let's hit a few and see what they look like.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
Have some balls, Louis.
Well, now, show me what's wrong, will you?
Well, in the first place, you were crouching too much on that shot. You had your nose down here against the ball, and you were tensing every muscle. Stand up fairly erect. Be comfortable. This little shot ought to be played about like a long putt.
You don't use your putting grip, brother, eh?
Oh, no, not at all. I use just the ordinary overlapping grip that I use for all my other shots.
Say, George,
Yes, sir.
did Mr. Winninger phone?
Why, he's been here for quite some time, Mr. Davidson.
He has?
Yes, he's down on the 14th green now with Bobby Jones.
Oh, he is. Getting a little practice on us, is he?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's go get him. Hey, boys, come on.
Hey, what's the idea?
Yeah, what's the big idea? Come on, get a move. Hello, Bob. How are you? Hey, listen, what's the idea? We've been waiting half an hour for you up on the tee.
Bobby's just helping me with my chip shot. You know that short approach of mine?
Yeah, we know. Well, if he could help you, maybe we'd all better stick around. Do you mind, Bob?
Not at all. Glad to have you. Well, Charlie, shall we start at the beginning?
I think you better, Bob.
I would just say that this little shot ought to be played like a long putt. You should stand up fairly erect and comfortably. Take a nice long backswing. Be perfectly relaxed. And then simply knock it up to the hole.
Bob, I noticed you're using a mashie iron for that shot. Do you use that club for all your chip shots?
No, indeed. I use at least 4 different clubs. Mashie iron, mashie niblick, and sometimes even a niblick, depending on the character of shot required. Now, up here where I'm near the green, and the hole is far back, I use this mashie iron, a club which has very little loft, because I need very little pitch and lots of roll. Then I address the ball at a point about opposite my right toe and hood the face of the club slightly. What I mean by hooding the club is that I turn it from this position, which is its normal lie, to this position. Then I hit slightly downward upon the ball. I find that this gives me much better direction than if I played the ball opposite my left foot with the club in its normal position. What I intend to say is that my thought is always to pitch as far as a putting green in order to avoid the uncertainties of the fairway which may be between the ball and the green. So naturally, if I move back a distance, then I must use a more lofted club. Now here, I'm about 40 feet from the edge of the green. And following the thought of always pitching to the green, I must take a more lofted club. In this case, a mashie.
Bob, will you please try some more?
Sure, yeah.
Bill, I want you to watch this left hand.
I always play a straightforward shot wherever possible, and never make any attempt to put backspin on the ball unless it is absolutely necessary. Now let's move back a bit and I'll show you where I use a mesh and niblick. Lure, let's have some more ball. You just watch a few shots here. Now back here, it's just the same shot, but with a more lofted club because I have to pitch farther. In making this shot, there should be no attempt to limit the use of any part of the body. Arms, wrists, hips, and knees all should have their part in accomplishing a smooth, leisurely stroke with no suspicion of hurry.
Why is it that often when using a mashie niblick, I hit the ball way up here in the heel of the club and it shanks off to the right?
Well, that's probably because your arms are away from your body at address, and when you hit the ball, your left elbow flies up. Now, to prevent this, keep your hands low at address and your left arm straight until you've hit the ball. Now, there's just one thing more before we leave this mesh and niblick. Occasionally, a shot comes up where it is necessary to apply a little backspin to the ball in order to shorten its roll. When this happens, I move the ball up to a point about opposite my left toe and lay the face of the club off a bit, like this. Then I hit slightly across the ball. This shot is not intended to produce a vicious backspin, but merely to apply the brakes a little to shorten the roll of the ball.
Oh, I got it. Let me make a shot, will you, Bob? Hey, you carry me around, will you?
Be good.
Oh, boy, how's that? How's that, Bob, huh?
How is it, Charles? It's a miracle.
Is that so? Yeah. Oh, what we'll do to you this
Come on, let's get going.
Thanks,
Bob.
Bob.
Wait,
Come on, boys.
very much. So long, Bob. Thanks.
What we do to you, boy.
Give him 2 up. I'll take the honor. That's probably the last time you'll get it.
Oh, is that so?
That's so.
Just for that, I'll double all bets with you.
All right. Hey, hold on. Say, fellas, we forgot to adjourn that meeting at the office this morning.
That's right, Bill.
Well, you're the president. We're all here.
Well, we can't go back to the office. I move we adjourn. Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded, we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye!
Yes, madam.
Did you call the club?
Yes, madam. They said he'd left some time ago. May I serve dinner?
No. We'll wait.
You'll pardon my speaking, but this is getting very discouraging. Your husband 2 hours late every evening. It's impossible to plan anything.
Oh, hello, dear. I'm sorry I'm late. Well, never mind that, Wilson. Get me a cocktail or something, will you? I've got to...
Well, what's the matter, dear?
Oh, I had a terrible day at the office, dear.
Oh, come and sit down.
My head's simply splitting.
Tell me all about it. What happened?
Oh, it's the office for us. My stenographer is simply driving me crazy. And that manager of mine doesn't do a thing. I've got to do every little thing myself. First thing you know, I'll be having a nervous breakdown.
Oh. Well, Huntley, you must do something. The servants are complaining.
Well, raise their salaries. Because if things go like they did today, I'll be much later from now on.
Oh, I see. Do your arms hurt, dear?
My arms? Why?
Well, when I play a niblick shot for hours, my arms get awfully tired. Don't yours?
What do you mean?
Just this, my poor, tired little...
Oh, hello, Vivian.
Oh, hello, dear.
Isn't that Bobby Jones over there?
Yes. And that sand-digging person with him is my husband.
You better come and sit down. You have a long wait.
But I've waited long enough. I'm going home.
Oh, it's the same old story, Bob. Every time I get into one of these traps, I simply can't get out.
That's all right. It's not as bad as all that. Just open the face of your club a little bit and hit a couple more.
Do you mean like that?
Yes. Well, that's all right. Go ahead. Try another.
Oh, you see, I can't do it, Bob. Oh, do you think it's my grip?
No, your grip's fine. It's not that. Your conception of this shot is all wrong. You're not going about it in the right way.
Well, will you show me how to make the shot once again?
Certainly, I'll try to. Stand over here a minute.
Thanks very much.
But before I play the shot, just let me show you one or two things that you were doing. For example, you were addressing the ball at a point about opposite your right toe, and you had closed the face of your club. Now, in playing a shot from the sand, there are two things which are likely to happen and which may spoil the shot. One is to take too much sand and leave the ball still in the bunker, just as you did a moment ago, or to take too little sand and send the ball far over the green. I always feel that my margin of safety is greater in a deep bunker like this if I hit well under the ball, so that I will be certain to get it into the air. In order to accomplish this, I address the ball at a point about opposite my left toe, sometimes even a bit farther forward. And then I lay the face of the club off, like this, and hit across the line. Watch for the first stop. This position illustrates the straight left arm and how it controls the path of the swing. The wrists have just begun to break. This is a top position, showing the left arm still straight and the wrists fully cocked. Halfway down, notice that all the wrist action has been saved for hitting the ball. Now comes a punch, and just before impact, there is the left arm still driving through. There goes the ball. The work has been done. The left arm collapses, and everything passes through to the finish of the stroke. But from a clean lie, like this, I never take much sand, just enough to get the club under the ball. When I play the shot in this way with the club face open, even if I take too little sand or hit too hard, the ball is not likely to go over the green. And that knowledge gives me confidence to hit hard enough to be certain that the ball gets out of the bunker.
I think I see it now. But, Bob, supposing the ball is in a heel print or buried, how'd you play that shot?
I play this shot in exactly the same way, except that I take more sand behind the ball and hit a bit harder. There's one other thing to remember, and that is, since there's a large cushion of sand between the face of the club and the ball goes up practically without spin, and it is therefore necessary to allow for a good bit of roll.
I've got it. Let me try it again. Now, is that right?
That's fine.
Well, how's that?
That's fine. I don't think you'll have any more trouble on these. But you've started with the hardest shot. Let's go down here and play some easy ones.
Great. You know, Bobby, I thought I'd never get that shot.
Put the balls here, Louis. Now, there's not a great deal to this shot, except to know when to use it. Now, here, I use a mashy niblick because I have a clean lie on the sand. The bank of the bunker is quite low, and the hole is far back.
I noticed you played the ball much farther back than you did in the other bunker.
Yes, because even though the ball is lying on the sand, the shot is still a chip shot. And I play it just as I would a similar shot from the fairway. That is, back off the right foot again, with the club slightly closed, and then I hit down on the ball. You'll notice that I take the sand after I hit the ball.
That looks a nice, easy way to get out of a bunker. I'll have to practice that.
Well, that's all it takes, just a little practice. But let's get back to the niblick for a minute. You know, a lot of people have an idea that a niblick is only useful in a bunker or in long grass. But I find it to be a fine club for certain shots from the fairway. Come over here and I'll show you what I mean. Right here, Lou. Now, here's a shot which has to be stopped very quickly. I use a niblick because its greater loft permits me to hit the ball more firmly. And for that reason, it's easier to apply backspin. Well, that's about all there is to it.
Thanks a lot, Bob. From now on, bunkers mean nothing.
Well, I think it's about time to go in.
No, I'm going back in that bunker and practice.
You'll be late for dinner.
Oh, my wife doesn't mind if I'm late.
Terrible day at the office. I suppose you were excavating until darkness overtook you.
Oh, be reasonable, dear. Bob was showing me that shot with the niblick that I've had so much trouble with. But when he got through with me, I made some of the best shots I've ever made in my life.
You were terrible.
What do you mean?
Why, from where I was sitting on the porch, I could see that you didn't do one thing that Bobby told you to.
Well, what did I do wrong?
Wait a minute. You took a short stab at it. Like that. And you know Bobby always tells you to take the club back far enough for the shot. Now look.
Watch for the Mashy Niblick, the next episode in the Bobby Jones series, How I Play Golf. Coming to your theater soon.
Fine shot, Andy.
Just lucky, that's all. Lucky? What do you mean, lucky?
Well.
Great shot, great
Go
shot.
ahead, Lee, your shot.
Well, Bobby, old partner, we'll hang it on him today.
Well, I think it's about time.
Now, here, no wisecracks. You won't have to carry me today. Boy, I feel hot.
Well, swing easy and keep it over to the left.
Left, eh, Bob? Little practice swing. Well, boy, I feel hot today. Down the left, eh, Bobby?
That's right.
Oh, what a beautiful shot.
Leon, I thought I said left.
Well, I did play it to the left, but I didn't figure on so much crosswind, Bob.
That was a swell slice right behind the tree.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. How'd you like to make a little extra bet?
Okay with me, kid.
Bobby, a little extra's on here, son.
Well, don't forget, I'm counting on a lot of help from you today.
Don't worry about me. I'll be all right from now on. Comb that out of your beard. I don't know what could have happened. Maybe I turned my hand over.
Well, you cut across it, Leon.
Is that what I did?
Here it is, Mr. Earl.
Huh? Well, back there?
Yes, right back there.
Oh. Well, listen, Bob, you take care of this hole. I'll get out of here, all right?
All right, keep your head down.
Tough lie. Say, how many times have I asked you never to hand me a club? Let me have my spoon.
You'd better use an iron, Mr. Earl.
I always use this club to get out of here. Let me play it, will you?
Hey, Lee, put some chalk on your club.
Oh, boy. Give Mr. Earl his hatchet.
All right, all right. I'll get out of here, don't worry.
Mr. Earl, hadn't you better use an iron?
Will you go away? Will you go away? I always use this club. I know what I'm doing. First thing you know, you want to tell me how to play the game. Watch this one.
Bob, your partner's a woodpecker.
Oh.
Don't you think you'd...
No. I do not want an iron. I'll speak to the Greens Committee about this. Those trees shouldn't belong here. It's an unfair hazard. I'll get out of here, don't worry. Watch this one.
Great. That's the best shot you've made.
Oh, that was my middle knuckle.
You want an iron, Mr. Earl?
Good. Go on, get that club, will you? Will you get that club? Will you please get that club?
Come on, Lee, give yourself up.
Will you wait a minute? I've lost my club.
Oh, drop another club and don't count it.
Oh, yeah? Well, that's the first time a supposed friend of mine ever laughed at my misfortune.
You know, it's beginning to look like my partner's going to spend the rest of the day over there. I think I'll go over and see if I can straighten him out.
No, Bobby, it's hopeless. You can't straighten a corkscrew.
Wait a minute, Leon.
What's the matter?
You ought not to play that shot with a spoon.
Well, I always use this club here.
Well, this is a shot that ought to be played with a mashy niblick.
Oh, Bobby, I could never use a mashy niblick.
Well, that may be. But if you do use a mashy niblick, you don't have to worry about that tree. Because the natural loft of the club and just a normal stroke will carry your ball over it.
Well, you play one for me.
All right. You don't mind if I use your ball?
No, I'm ready to pick up any time. Boy, well, it seems easy enough.
Well, let's forget all about that tree. Come on out in the fairway a minute.
All right. Well, believe me, Bob, I'll appreciate that.
All right here, Leon.
All right. Now, listen, you fellas, keep quiet, will you? My partner and I are going to work out a little problem.
With you on his hands, he's got a big problem.
Hey, you 100-shooter, keep quiet, will you?
Well, never mind then, Leon.
I won't, don't worry.
Now, the first thing in playing this shot, just as in playing every other shot, is to get yourself in a comfortable position where you can swing the club easily.
I see.
Now, I want you to look at my stance and notice that I play this shot with my feet quite close together. I do that because it makes me more comfortable and because it enables me to turn my hips more freely. If I stand with my feet farther apart, the hip turn becomes very difficult, and I'm inclined to play the shot with my arms and hands alone. Now, this is one of the most common mistakes the average golfer makes. I want you to notice also that I don't have to reach for the ball out here. I stand close enough to it so that my arms may hang naturally downward. All this adds to the comfort of the position. Now, here's one thing that's particularly troublesome with this club. Whenever my mash and niblick shots go wrong, it is usually because I have failed to cock my wrist during the backswing. Sometimes it is hard to keep the left arm straight without setting up some tension in this left hand. You know, there's lots of things that become automatic in this game after a while, but I always have to think of getting this wrist action at the top of the swing.
Wait a minute, Bob. Let me see that grip.
Well, it's just the ordinary overlapping grip, but I want you to notice the position of my hands on the club. My left hand is fairly well over on top of the shaft. Then my right hand comes in, and it is likewise on top. I want you to notice also that my hands are in front of the ball. All of these things encourage a downward blow. You must be careful that the right hand is not placed too much under the shaft, for in that position, its tendency is to turn the face of the club over. I always try to emphasize the importance of an ample backswing. We see so many golfers who begin hitting before they reach the top of the swing. They go back fast and they get in such a rush to hit the ball that they yank the club down before they fairly get it back. I never play well unless I swing back slowly and make certain of reaching the top before I start down.
Well, do you feel that you're using one hand more than the other when you take the club back?
I certainly do. I feel that I push the club back with the left hand and never lift it up with the right. This is one of the very important things which keeps the club always swinging inside the line of flight and prevents it coming up too abruptly.
Oh, yes, I see. I'm beginning to understand now, Bob.
You know, Bob, I play that mashy niblick shot pretty well. But when the ball lands, it keeps on rolling. I can't get any backspin.
I have the same trouble.
Well, that's no doubt because you're both trying to lift the ball instead of punching it down. The fact that the shot is intended to fly high does not mean that it must be lifted into the air. Just remember that the loft of the club is supposed to take care of that. The stroke which produces backspin takes the ball first and then the turf.
Oh, boy, I got it now. Hey, useless, bring me my mashy niblick.
Where are you going?
Back to that tree. Come on, useless. Come on. There we are. Here, give me my mashy niblick. Let me see. Overlapping grip. Go back with the left hand. Oh, boy! See that shot? Listen, in the future when I ask for an iron, give it to me. Come on. Oh, Bob, did you see that shot, huh?
Oh, it was fine.
Uh-huh. So this, fellas, let's forget the hole right here. We'll start on the next one.
No. You can forget it. We'll remember it.
Well, and all right, but don't worry about me from now on, Bob. I feel hot.
Well, you see, Len, you use the proper club, you make a shot.
That's right. Now, it's your next shot. Now, keep your head down, boy. Keep your head down.
Watch for the next episode, The Medium Irons, in the Bobby Jones series, How I Play Golf, coming to your theater soon.
Coming. Who's ahead?
All square so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say, what hole are they on?
They're over on the 16th.
Thanks. Say, Junior, leave your kid brother here. We don't want him coming along.
Yeah, you wait right here till I get back. I want to go, too. Now, you heard what I said. You wait right here. All right for you, Junior.
get hurt now. Go on.
Well, Georgie, what's the matter with you?
Oh, Mr. Jones, I wanted to see you play, and my brother wouldn't let me.
Well, that's too bad. But you know, I'm just going down to practice, Georgie. Would you like to go along?
Would I? Are you going alone?
Just you and I. Come on.
Oh, boy.
All right, Lou, this is a good spot. Now, Georgie, what do you want to see first?
I want to see one go up in the green.
All right, we'll try and do that. Sit down over here.
Oh, that's a good one. Let's do it again.
All right.
Find him?
No, he isn't down by the caddy pen.
Where he is. You find him, Junior?
No, nobody's seen him in there.
Hey, Junior, I found him.
Where is he?
He's down at the practice tee with Bobby Jones. Let's get going.
Hello, Mr. Jones.
Hello, boy.
Hey, Georgie, where you been? We've been looking all over for you.
Go away. We're practicing.
Oh, heck. Can't we watch Mr. Jones?
You'll have to ask Georgie. He's the boss.
How about it, Georgie?
No, I don't think so.
Georgie, come on. Be a sport.
All right, if you keep awful quiet.
Well, thanks, Georgie. Thanks, Mr. Jones.
You boys play golf?
Well, we try to.
That's fine. You'll find that golf is a game you can play and enjoy all your lives. And as young as you all are now, you should learn to play very well.
What's the best way to start, Mr. Jones?
Well, I don't know a better way than to get a mashie like this or mid-iron and a putter and start knocking the ball around until you get the feel of the club. There's nothing in the world that can take the place of good form.
Will you show us how you do it?
Well, the best thing I can do is to give you a few fundamentals of the swing. Of course, you'll have to work out the details for yourself. Now, first is a matter of balance. A golfer doesn't need to fix himself in the ground so that he is immovable, because the only thing that can upset him is his own swing. As he stands before the ball, he should be alert and ready to move in any direction, with his weight evenly distributed on the balls of his feet, and never sitting back on his heels. And I think, unless his hands are very small, he is much better off using the ordinary overlapping grip, like this. Now, when it comes to hitting the ball, and this applies to any kind of a shot, remember that form is efficiency. In a good swing, as a club moves toward the ball, every force should be contributing its share toward increasing the speed of the club head. The shot you see here is approximately 140 yards in length. Of course, the distance from which a mashie should be used varies for each individual. The important thing is to select a club with which the distance can be covered comfortably without pressing. Now, it is absolutely fatal if the hand should be moving in one direction and the body in another. Now, I'll show you 3 ways in which this can happen. First, if there's too much weight on the left foot at the beginning of the swing. Second, if the weight should be shifted to the left foot during the backswing. And third, if the ball should be played so far back that it is necessary to shift back in order to hit it. Now, playing a ball as I do, well forward, there's no need for any shifting of the weight during the backswing. The body action is then merely a simple turn, and the weight remains about the same on each leg. But from the top of the swing down, the weight should flow evenly forward, so that at the finish, most of it is resting on the left leg. Now, this is very important. Watch it closely. In starting the club down from the top of the swing, there's a very definite pull of the left arm from the shoulder. The wrists are not used at this point, and the right hand particularly is kept out of the stroke. Now, wait just a minute, though. There's one thing more. I don't want you boys to start off with the idea that only one type of shot can be played with each club. Now, I've been playing here high, quick-stopping shots about as long as this club can comfortably care for. But I don't want you to overlook the fact that this mashie can also be very useful for pitch and run shots from shorter distances. Now, come over here a minute.
Okay.
Now, this is a shot about 40 yards in length. And sometimes when the greens become hard and dry, it's better to run up than it is to pitch. And in any case, it's well to know both shots so that you'll have an option. Now, the main thing I want to show you is what makes the ball roll. Now, this is really an elongated chip shot with the ball played back off the right foot again. The face of the club is closed and remains closed throughout the stroke. Now, this shot is primarily one of safety, because it is almost certain to get the ball up somewhere near the hole. The idea is to strike the ball fairly in the back. You cannot actually produce overspin, but you can play the shot so that it will have a minimum of backspin. The ball should be swept along close to the ground, so that it will roll smoothly and not be easily deflected from the line.
Oh, man. Look at all the stuff, John.
Boys, I guess that's enough for one day. Let's go in.
Thank you.
Not at all. Where's Georgie? Oh, poor little chap. He's had a hard day.
Boy, that mashie stuff.
Well, little man, what's all this about?
I don't want to play anymore.
All right, let's go in then.
Listen, can you come down Saturday morning early and play?
Watch for the Big Irons, the next episode in the Bobby Jones series, How I Play Golf, coming to your theater soon.
Hello, gang.
Hello, Harold. What are you doing inside?
Got to see the boss.
He hasn't come down yet. What's the matter?
Hey, I got to get this afternoon off.
Why?
I got a date to play golf with Bobby Jones.
Oh, you lucky stiff. Say, don't let the boss know that. He'll want to go along.
Oh, not a chance. I played with him once.
Oh, but he thinks he's good now.
Oh.
Yeah, been practicing all the time. Say, come on in his office. I want to show you what he's got. Here it is. What do you think of that?
Well, what is it?
Bottle golf.
Boy, he'll buy anything, won't he? How does it work?
If you move that bottle a foot, it's supposed to register a 150-yard drive.
Oh, I wonder if it's any good. I think I'll try it.
Well, all right, but now, don't break it.
What?
Morning, man.
Morning.
Skippy. Any mail?
It's a new office. Here goes a hole in one.
Oh! Oh!
Oh, Mr. Kibbe,
Oh, my operation.
I'm sorry. Oh, Mr. Kibbe, I'm terribly sorry.
My club?
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Goodwin, why aren't you on your territory?
Well, I came in, I thought, I wanted to ask you...
You better not ask anything. The next time you come in without permission, we can get along without you.
But I
That's all. Huh. Fine, how do you do? My club.
Hey, listen, Ed, I'm going out anyway. If I get any calls, you take them, will you?
Sure, go ahead.
Why, Mr. Kibbe, what's the matter?
Oh, Mr. Mowbray. I had a fainting spell. I fell against the door.
And can I get you anything?
No. I guess I better get out in the air. Have my car sent around to the side entrance for me.
Very good,
yes.
Sir.
Boy, have I got that drive back again?
Hi, Bob.
Hello, Hal.
Sorry I was late. I was held up at the office.
Oh, that's all right. I was just getting a little much-needed practice. You ready to start?
Yes, but before we go, will you watch me make a couple iron shots?
Sure.
I've been brutal.
What's the matter?
Oh, I
What
don't
are you
know.
doing?
Everything. I've been hooking and slicing. I just can't hit that green.
All right, hit a few.
What's the matter with me today? Give me that spoon. I ought to play better than that. Oh, you watch this, caddy, and see what's the matter with me. Now, who did that? Where'd that come from?
Over the hill there.
I'll report them to the Greens Committee. Nobody's going to shoot into me.
See, I got that little fade right on the tail.
Now, you can't tell me somebody isn't doing that on purpose. I'll show them.
That's what I've been doing all the way around.
Well, that's not so bad. Let's go up here where we've got a green to play to.
All right.
Come on, Louis, bring the club.
I've been fighting that same silly thing for months. I don't know what's wrong.
Well, I think we can work it out in a minute. Give me that 2-iron, Louis. Run on down the green. Now, Harold, your stance and position at address are all right. Your feet are not too far apart, and your body appears to be easy and comfortable. Just see that you keep them that way, because that's the way to play golf. Now, I think your trouble is in your left side. You know, I'm a firm believer in left arm control. Now, watch this a moment. Now, I don't think you need to worry about this right hand, except to keep it out of the stroke. Now, there are two places in the swing where it simply must be kept out. The first is at the beginning of the backswing. Now, from this position, the right hand and arm should be perfectly relaxed, and the club should be pushed back with the left arm and left side, like this. The right arm is simply following in the way. Now, there's just one thing that will make it easier for you to use your left arm properly. When you address the ball, your arms are far out, and your left elbow is bent too much. I'd like to see you drop your hands down and bring them closer into your body so that your left arm will hang practically straight.
Watch Bobby's next shot closely. A perfect bullseye. One good camera gone.
Now, I said a moment ago that your trouble was in your left side. More specifically, it's this. You're not turning your left hip out of the way fast enough. Your hip gets so far, and then it locks and prevents your going through with a shot. It makes you hit the ball up when you know that it ought to be hit down. Now watch the left heel return to the ground just after the club starts down. The weight flows forward and downward as the club approaches the ball. And here you see what I mean when I say that the left hip turns out of the way. Notice that long before the club strikes the ball, the hip is turned far past the position it occupied at address. It is actually turning ahead of the stroke, so that it offers no resistance to a free passage of the arms. Look at the left heel again, and observe that the weight settles on the left leg at the finish. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but Bob, I've always been afraid to move my hips too much. I thought it'd make you sway.
Oh, no. Hip action has nothing in the world to do with swaying. Now, this shot here illustrates a free hip movement which is not swaying. The hips shift a bit forward, but the head remains steady, and the shoulders merely turn. Now, Harold, watch my left arm.
Yeah, I see.
Now, you hit this last one and get your left hip out of the way. That's it.
There, that feels a lot better. Hello, Mr. Kibbe. I wasn't feeling very well today, so I thought I ought to come out and get the air. Oh, Bob, meet my boss, Mr. Kibbe.
How are you, Mr. Kibbe?
How do you do?
Delighted to meet you.
Glad to know you.
Hal and I just going out to play. Would you like to join us?
Oh, that'd be great. Fine. I'd be delighted if I won't be in the way.
Oh, no, not at all. Come on, let's get started.
Do you play golf with Bob right along?
Well, yes, quite often.
Hey, wait a minute. Thinking this over, we both need more air. Now, you arrange to do your work in the morning, and we can all play golf in the afternoon. How's that?
Oh, that'll be great, Mr. Kibbe.
Ah, that's the stuff. Now, you get yourself a partner. I'll take Bob, and we'll have a regular foursome every day. Hey, Bob, wait a minute. Just got a great idea.
Watch for the spoon. The next episode in the Bobby Jones series, How I Play Golf. Coming to your theater soon.
Well?
Beg your pardon, Your Honor, but there's a Zelma O'Neill wishes to see you.
Zelma O'Neill. Oh, yes, Mrs. William. All right, have her come in.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Zelma.
Oh, Judge. Oh, Judge.
What's the matter, my dear? What is it?
Oh, I'm in a terrible lot of trouble.
Here, now, you come on and sit down. Tell me all about it.
It's Warren.
Warren?
He's practically deserted me.
Well, that doesn't sound like Warren.
Oh, but it's true. Why, he never comes home anymore. Oh, I don't know what I'll do.
Is it another woman?
Oh, it's worse. It's much worse.
What is it, my dear?
He's taken up golf.
Oh, that's all right. That's not so bad.
Oh, but it is. Why, just last night he had a terrible nightmare. Jumped right in the middle of my back and cursed horribly about a spoon.
Well, I've had a lot of trouble with that club myself.
What?
I mean, club life is terrible, yes.
Oh, yes. Now, to top it off, he insists on calling the baby Niblick.
Well, this is serious. Now, I tell you, you have him come in and see me, and I'll talk to him.
Oh, but I'm afraid you'll never get to see him unless you go out to the golf
Oh,
course.
I couldn't do that today, my dear. I'm very busy.
Oh, but you've got to do something. I told him I was coming down to see you about a divorce. He merely said, give the judge my regards. I've got a date to play golf with Bobby Jones.
Bobby Jones?
Yes?
You mean he's playing golf with Bobby Jones today?
Yes.
Well, this is serious. Yes, now you come along with me and we'll both go out and give that young man a good talking to.
Oh, Judge,
Indeed.
you don't know how glad I
All
am.
right,
It's
my
been
dear.
awful lately.
You leave the car over by the clubhouse, will you?
I don't see him anyplace.
Now, you sit down here and wait. I'll find him.
Oh, Judge, don't be too harsh on him now,
All right,
will you?
now, don't worry. Don't
Be
worry.
careful.
Well, if I put this one on the green, Leo, I'll break an 80 for the first time.
Gee, that's great, Mr. William. You want a spoon on this one?
No, don't give me that thing. I want to play this safe. Give me the 1-iron.
Gee, that's tough. It went out of bounds.
I knew it. I knew it. It was too good to be true. Give me the rest of those clubs.
Yeah, Warren, wait a minute. What's the matter?
And my first chance to break 80, and I put the ball out of bounds.
Well, why didn't you use that spoon that your caddy wanted to give you?
Oh, Bob, I can't use that thing. And I wanted to play safe.
Well, you took a mighty poor club to play safe with.
What do you mean?
Well, you chose a number 1 iron, which is the hardest club in the bag to play. And the spoon is just about the easiest.
Well, I wish you could make it look easy to me.
Well, I think I can. Here, Louis. Now, just watch this a minute. Now, you see...
Well, might as well quit now.
Why? What's the matter?
Here comes Judge Houston. He wants to see me about the wife.
Uh-oh.
Hello, Warren.
Hello, Judge. Do you know Mr. Jones? Judge
Thank you,
Houston.
Judge.
I'm glad to know you, Mr. Jones.
Glad to meet you.
Well, what's the verdict?
Well, I've been having trouble with my spoon.
Well, come right over here.
Well, what's this?
Well, Warren has a great fancy for number 1 iron.
You mean he did have?
Yeah.
I never could use that club.
Well, Judge, Warren's trouble with this shot, and very likely it's yours, too, is that whenever he takes a wood club in his hands, he feels that he has to pick the ball cleanly off the ground and lift it into the air. In other words, he tries to hit it on the upstroke. Now, when he swings a club in this way, it means that the low point of the arc is reached before the club contacts the ball. And one of two things is likely to happen. Either the club will strike the ground and knock the ball nowhere, or if it misses the ground, it will be coming up so abruptly that it will strike the ball above center and top it. Now, I want you to watch how I hit the ball downward. There's no need to worry about getting elevation. The loft of the club and the speed of the ball will make it rise.
Very good. Mr. Jones, tell me something. How can I get rid of my slice?
Well, in order to get rid of a slice, you first got to know what causes it.
Yeah, well, what causes it?
Well, there are three causes that we see most often. First, keeping too much weight back on the right foot in hitting the ball. Second, using the right hand too much at the top of the swing in starting the club down. And third, getting a right elbow too high at the top of the swing. Any one of these mistakes will force the club outside the line and cause it to cut across the ball from the outside in. Now, I think the club should be swung in this way, with both arms working close to the body. The left arm is perfectly straight and the right elbow folds up close to the side. It is not held in tightly, but it does not begin to come up until the swing nears the top and pulls it away. Coming down, the straight left arm is pulling hard to keep the club inside the line of flight and to avoid cutting across the ball. At impact, the left arm is straight and the right slightly bent. The right hand does not cross over the left until after the ball has been struck.
Well, never mind his slice. What about my hook, that quick one?
Well, Warren, we'd naturally expect a swing which produces a hook to be exactly opposite to that which causes a slice. It is the opposite in the sense that it swings across the line from the inside out instead of from the outside in. This usually happens when the player is trying to hit the ball up. Now, the ideal, of course, is to have the club moving exactly along the line of flight when it strikes a ball, with its face exactly true to the objective. The diagram shows that the club never passes beyond the white line on the ground, which represents the line of flight. The swing approaches the ball from inside this line, but at the instant of impact, the club is moving along it. Now, just one little suggestion. I said a moment ago that a number 1 iron was a very difficult club to use. It is so because it has very little loft. Now, several years ago, I started carrying 2 spoons in my bag. This one, just an ordinary spoon, and this one, more lofted, which almost exactly covers the range of the number 1. Now, this club is far easier to use than this one because of the greater pitch on the face. And I always give a spoon preference over the iron unless I want to play a low shot into a head wind. There you are, Louis. Just one thing more before we go. Don't fight the ball. Let the club do some of the work.
Was my wife playing golf. Why, darling, I didn't know you played golf.
Go away. Can't you see I'm trying to hit this thing?
Well, that's fine, but I can help you.
I don't need your help. I can hit 'em. Silly game, nothing to it.
Why, darling, that's wonderful. But
just a minute. You said you were going to call the baby Niblick.
yes.
Well, you're not.
No.
No. I'm going to name her Spoonette.
Well, that's really very nice.
Sure it is.
Well, golf's a great game, Mr. Jones.
It certainly is, Judge.
Now, you take that young couple. This morning, they were on the verge of divorce, and golf has brought them back together again. I tell you, every man should play more golf with his wife.
Your wife play, Judge?
Well, once or twice, but she's not very good. I don't encourage it.
I see.
Watch for the next episode, The Brassy, in the Bobby Jones series, How I Play Golf, coming to your theater soon.
Well, honey, it looks like we're sunk.
Oh, Alan, what are we going to do?
Don't worry. Sorry, kid, but we had to do it.
All right, officer, hold him there till I get there. Hold him till... Confound it, why don't you open this door for me? Just keep them right there. Keep them right there. You young scoundrel trying to elope with my daughter, eh? Loretta, come out of that car.
Oh, Dad,
Don't
please.
gad me. Come out of the car before I lift you out. And take that young whippersnapper to the police station. I'll appear against him. Never mind. Come on. Come on.
All right, Louis, let's see if we can find out what's wrong with this brass. Balls down.
Come with me. In you go, right in there.
Oh, what a hook.
What's happened? What was that?
Golf ball.
Aha!
What happened? What is it?
Now they're shooting golf balls at me. I'll settle this. Come with me. And bring those two young elopers with us. Come on. Come on.
I think there's some more balls in the bag, Louis.
Just a minute there, young man. Just a minute. Well, if it isn't Bobby Jones.
Hello, Loretta.
Hello, Bobby.
How are you, Bobby?
Hello, Alan. What's the trouble?
Well, you sort of put a golf ball through Mr. Gillingwater's windshield.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I hope I didn't hurt anyone.
Oh, don't you mind. That's perfectly all right. Just an accident.
Well, I'm awfully sorry.
What are you doing? Making a few brassy shots?
Just practicing a little bit.
Uh-huh. See, you mind if I watch you? You know, that's the weakest club in my bag.
Not at all. I'll be delighted to have you.
Oh, see, come here. Watch this boy shoot now. Now, just watch him, boys.
Are you sure your car's safe? I might hook another one, you know.
Never mind the car. Go on and shoot. God. See, wait a minute, Bobby. I want to see how you've got your hands there.
Well, it's just the ordinary overlapping grip.
Yeah, I know, but you've got that right hand further over than look here, boys. You notice that? You notice where his right hand comes? And you notice how far the thumb is over there? And then up there, way up there, he's got his left hand. I guess that's what's the matter with my shots, all right.
Yeah, Mr. Gillingwater, you take the club a minute.
Yeah. Now, what?
Now, let's put this hand down here.
Down there?
Now, turn this one over more, the left.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, how does that feel?
Well, all right, after I get used to it, I guess. Now what?
Well, now, let me show you something.
Yeah? Now, wait a minute. Say, that shot you ran through my car window there, was that because you didn't hold your hand right?
Well, indirectly.
Uh-huh.
What caused that was using my right hand too much.
Oh.
But here, I didn't hold on to the club tight enough with my left hand.
Uh-huh.
And I should pull the club through this way, do you see?
Oh, yes.
Watch this a moment.
Uh-huh.
Here, the left arm pulls the club right through the ball. You can see that the right hand is kept out of the stroke until it is time to put in the big punch. Even then, I find it best to think only of using the left. If I try to whip the club through with the right hand, I always get a hook like the one you saw a moment ago. Now, here's the thing about the hands that's very important. At the top of the swing, the club must not be held so tightly that the wrist will be stiffened. And yet, it must be held firmly to keep it from turning in the hand. Now, notice here that I'm gripping the club mainly in the fingers of the left hand. I have a firm hold upon it, and yet my wrist can still work easily. I always have a better feel of the club head if I permit my fingers to open slightly at the top. You can see here the elevation of my hands at the top of a full swing. This is a source of great power and is made possible again by a straight left arm. It is almost as though the left arm were pushing the club away from the body to give the swing a broad sweep.
Excuse me, Mr. Jones.
I noticed lately when I play my shots, in between my hips, I'm always stiff and tight. And yet you seem to turn so freely on your hips. I wonder if that could be what's the trouble with my playing.
It might very well be. I think a free hip turn is very important. But you know, your feet can get in such positions that you can't have any freedom in your hips. For instance, if I were to turn my left foot out more toward the hole, like that, I would find that my left leg was in such position that my hips could not turn freely going back. You see? And if I were to turn the left foot in that way, I would find that it would obstruct the hip turn going through. Now, I think a compromise between those two positions is best, with both feet turned slightly outward. Now, when I stand that way, I find that my hips can turn freely both ways. Now, this shows what I mean. First, watch the action of the left knee and foot during the backswing. Then look at the position of the left foot, which makes this possible. You can go from the ground up and see how the position of the foot affects the movement of the knee, and that in turn the action of the hips. At the top of the swing, my back is almost square to the hole. And then when the club meets the ball, see how far around my hips have turned. And here's another thing. Notice where the right arm is just before impact, with the elbow quite close to the body and bent slightly. The left shoulder has been drawn up a little and the right down. This position shows clearly how the left side has been pulling. From this angle, it is shown clearly that I don't make any effort to plant my feet solidly in the ground. As the hips turn going back, the left knee bends and the right leg straightens. The left heel comes up during the backswing and the heel of the right foot leaves the ground soon after the club starts down. Now, if you look over to the left side of the picture, you will see the clubhouse in the distance. The next picture you will see was taken from the balcony of this clubhouse overlooking the green. Here it is. Watch closely and you'll be able to follow the ball. The distance is 243 yards. My swing is a sort of compromise between the flat swing of the old Scottish school, which brings the club around below the point of the right shoulder, and the upright style, which swings almost vertically upward above the shoulder. Generally speaking, very tall men seem to favor a more upright swing, and short people want a bit on the flat side. I don't think it is wise to go to extremes in either direction.
That was fine. That was fine. Well, thanks a whole lot. Yeah, come, Loretta. Let's go. Where'd they go?
Oh, they've been gone for some while.
They've been... Well, you're a couple of fine flat feet, aren't you? Let those two get away.
We didn't see them.
Oh, shut up. I'll have your stars for this. You see if I don't. See? Well, all right. He's put one over on me. Say, what kind of a game of golf does he play?
Oh, well, and a fine player.
Yes, huh? Well, I'll get even with him. I'll make him play golf with me every day. Yeah. Say, you had something to do with this, too. I can tell from the twinkle in your eye. All right, I'll get even with you. You're going home with me and welcome them when they come back. Yeah, come on. Come on, Flatfeet.
Watch for the next episode, The Driver, in the Bobby Jones series, How I Play Golf. Coming to your theater soon.
so bad.
Pretty good.
Come on, Mac, pull yourself together. We're already 2 down to these fellows.
Yes, come on, Mac. You're doing fine. For us.
I can't drive this new ball, and you know yourself, Lucian, that the best part of my game is generally my drive.
What's the worst spot, Mac?
Do you want me to tell you what's wrong with you?
No, I don't.
Oh, very well.
What is it?
Don't play the ball so far up. Play it off of your right foot like I do.
I'll hit it my way.
All right. Miss it your way.
Mac, have you ever tried standing on the ball?
Ah, shut up. I was talking to a fellow when he's trying to shoot. Don't give me half a chance.
Left arm straight.
Temper's just as bad as your swing. Know any other games,
Just
Mac?
a minute. I thought I was playing with gentlemen. I don't want to see you fellas ever again as long as I live. I'm through with a lot of you.
Oh, Mac, you're only kidding. You're not going to lose your temper
kidding.
over a golf game, are you?
Oh, come back, Mac. Half of that bet's yours.
Oh, come on, fellas. He'll get over it.
Imagine the old grouch losing his temper like that.
Find somebody else to play with.
Sir.
Wait a minute. The bet's off.
Not a bit.
Oh.
That bet's not off.
Mac. Oh, Mac. Come on, wake up. Wake up. Come on, sleepyhead. You're wasting a lot of valuable time over here. That's a good boy. If you want to straighten your drive out, you've got some work to do. Come on, let's go over here on the practice tee and see what we can do about it. All right, Mac, sit down over here and let's go over this thing a minute. Lucian told you a moment ago to address the ball more off your right foot. Now, I don't think that's good advice, and I'll tell you why. When you stand in front of the ball, this way, you must reach back in order to hit it. And that gives you a tendency to jump at the ball, instead of hitting it with a smooth stroke. Now, I find that I drive better if I stand back here, so that the ball is about opposite my left toe. And that way, my weight is behind the shot, and I can hit through the ball. And watch it. You see, I don't have to shift my weight during a backswing because it is already back where it can get into the shot. When I start the club down, every part of my body starts moving toward the ball. If this were not true, I should lose a great deal of power from a stroke. This view of the feet may illustrate better what I mean. This shot was hit hard, and you can see the left heel come down as the weight begins to move forward. And at the finish, the right foot is supporting practically no weight at all. Now remember, in driving, you haven't the same problem that you have in playing a wood club from the fairway. Instead of elevation, here you want length. You want to strike the ball so that it will keep on going after it hits the ground. So instead of hitting a ball down, as I do with a brassie, I try to hit it fairly in the back and sweep it off the tee. This sort of a stroke produces an arching flight, not the kind that rises quickly and drops almost dead, but the sort of shot that strikes the ground at an angle and has lots of roll. This diagram will show a marked flatness in the swing near the bottom of the arc as the club strikes a ball. The blow neither comes down sharply before impact nor goes up abruptly afterwards. I make no effort to stop the club after I hit the ball, but let it travel on of its own momentum until it arrives at the finish you see here. Now, I want you to notice that the shaft of the club at the top of the swing is not parallel to the line of play. The head end of the club is directed considerably to the right of the objective, and in starting down, it drops back so that it can never get outside the line of flight. Now, Mac, you were telling those fellows a while ago that you couldn't drive this new ball. I'm afraid that's more an excuse than it is a reason. If you'll just go on and play the ball and forget that it's any different from the one you've been using, you'll do just as well with it, if not better.
Yeah? Of course, I shouldn't blame anything on the ball. But, Bob, what about driving it into the wind?
Well, the thing to be careful of in a wind is to see that you don't let it rattle you and bait you into pressing. When you're driving against a stiff breeze, you should take things even a bit more easily than usual. Don't try to overcome the wind. Just accept your loss of distance and hit the ball comfortably down the fairway. When trying to keep a drive low into a headwind, the inclination is to knock it down. But I find that it is far better to hit the ball still in the back. The downward blow imparts backspin, and the spin makes the ball rise, while the sweeping blow gives the ball the arching flight we have talked about and keeps it down. And since it is control that is wanted most, I do not hit quite so hard as I would under normal conditions. Now here, you come over and hit one. Swing nice and easily.
Hey, Caddy! Bring my clubs, quick! Hey, boys, wait a minute, will you? Wait a minute. Oh, here he comes. Didn't I tell you he'd get over it?
Say, I don't have to take him for a partner again, do I?
I guess I put it over on you birds.
Why, what do you mean?
What do I mean? I was kidding you all the time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, let's see you hit one, then we'll be able
All
to find
right,
out.
my boy, I'll hit one.
Yeah.
I'll hit one this time. Watch me. Just keep your eye on me, boys, this time. Yeah, boy. Now, if you only knew what I know, if you only knew what I know, boy. There you are, boy.
The bet's on. Oh, wait a minute, Mac.
Watch for the next episode, Trouble Shots, in the Bobby Jones series, How I Play Golf, coming to your theaters soon.
Hello, Bob.
Hello, Doug. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Fine.
Don't you ever get tired of this pesky game?
Well, I just had a little work to do with this driver.
Work? Is this? That's the kind of work I'd like to do. Only I can't play well.
Well, I can't act either, so I guess we're even.
Say, don't let me stop you. Go right ahead. I'd like to watch.
Hey, trying to learn something, Joe?
Oh, I don't know. I think I could beat him.
What? Beat Bob?
Sure.
You're not serious, are you?
Why not? I'm not bad, you know.
You're not willing to make a little bet, are you?
Sure. Bet you a dinner.
That you can beat him?
That I can beat Bobby, yes.
Oh, boy, you're on. Come with me.
Hey, wait a minute, boys. Joe just bet me a dinner that he can beat Bob. What? Say, can I get in
Now,
on that?
wait a minute, Doug. You didn't let me finish.
Yeah?
Bob's never getting into any trouble, so naturally he don't know how to get out. Now, here's my proposition. Let Bob drive for me on every hole, and I'll drive for him. And see if he can get out of the trouble that I get him into.
I thought there was a catch to it.
Oh, a little scared, huh?
Oh?
Huh?
I think that's very interesting, Joe. I'd like to try it.
Okay, let's go.
Come on.
All righty, let's go.
I'm in.
All right, Joe, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You shoot, Bob. I want to see what kind of a shot you're going to give me.
That sounds like a threat.
Thanks, Bob.
Well, here's the boy that's going to beat Bob. Come on, do your worst. Do your best, Joe.
I'll answer him. I will. Quiet, please.
Well, that's a peach to begin with.
What? Why, that's my best. Too bad, Bob. The tree is right in front of you. I guess you can see it, though.
Yeah, it looks like you'll have to hook around it, Joe. Be number one.
Hmm?
Right on the green. Give up, Joe?
This shot is played with a number one iron to keep the ball under the branches of the tree. The direction of the blow is from the inside out, and the right hand rolls over the left as the club meets the ball. The right shoulder comes through a bit higher than it does ordinarily. Well, Joe, it's your on. I'll hit it for you. Well, there's yours on the green.
Thanks, Bob. There's yours in the ditch.
Thanks, Joe. The success of this shot depends upon the player's ability to swing accurately from the strained position. I find that this is a severe test of concentration and of one's ability to relax under stress.
In the grass. I don't think I've lost your ball, though, Bob. I've been in there before.
Well, I can think of a lot of things I could do to this one.
Oh, now, wait now. No cheating, Bob.
No, I play fair.
I know. Honey. There you are. I knew I could find it.
Give me that niblick again.
It's getting kind of hot, isn't it, that niblick?
About worn out.
Hey, why don't you lay off once in a while?
You can see that this one had to be hit hard. There's one thing about long rough. Be sure to use a club with enough loft to get the ball up before the grass smothers it.
That's too bad, Bob. Well, I guess you'll concede this hole, Bob.
No, I think this might be an interesting shot, Joe.
What, you're going to shoot it?
Certainly.
You're facing the wrong way. Here's the green, Bob.
Yes, and you're in my way, too.
Yeah, Joe. Come on. Oh, that's a speed.
Don't you ever give up?
All you need here is to get your angle right. I use a lofted club and strike under the ball so that it will rebound over the face of the club without touching it. If you get close to the hole, you are lucky, of course, but there's always a chance.
I thought for a minute you were going to be on the green.
Yes, I did come close, didn't I?
I'm on. Bad lie. Poor Robinson.
What about me? I'm doing all the heavy work.
Did you see the splash your ball made when I smacked it in the river?
Yeah, you're giving me a very entertaining afternoon, Joe. I have made the same shot twice.
I've got some shots left that you haven't seen yet. And we're still even.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm afraid your ball is clear under the water. I'd give it up, Bob.
Well, they can take a pass, Joe.
Thanks, Bob.
This is another test of concentration. The shot is played just like an explosion from sand, taking the water behind the ball. The most difficult thing for me is to keep my eyes open when I hit the ball. I've had them filled with mud and water too often. Sorry, Joe, I put you in the rough.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Joe. That's the first one in the fairway.
How do they stand, Eddie? It all depends on this hole. If Joe sinks this putt, he'll win this hole and square the match. Joe must have been going pretty good, huh? Yeah, you ought to have seen the places he had Bob in.
Gee, that's too bad, Bob. My ball's right in front of yours.
That's all right, Joe. In mashing everything.
That's the wrong club, Bob.
Well, I'm afraid I'll have to use it.
Come on, everybody. Dinner's ready. Put your orders in quick. Well, too bad, Joe. Sorry, old boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, nothing expensive.
A stymie may be the result of bad luck, but it is nevertheless a golf shot. If you keep your ball close to the hole, almost any stymie can be made. This one was not difficult because of the distance of the opponent's ball from the hole.
Watch for the practice episode. Next of the Bobby Jones series, How I Play Golf, coming to your theater soon.
Morning, Bob.
Morning.
How are you this morning?
Fine.
Well, I want you to meet the folks who are going to work with us in this picture. There's Miss Evelyn Knapp.
How do you do, Mr. Jones?
Now, you're Miss Knapp. Mr. James Cagney.
How are you?
How do? Mr. Donald Cook.
How do you do?
And Mr. Tony Bushel. I think you know Tony,
Hello,
Tony.
Hi, Bob.
Good to see you. Folks, this is Mr. Keeler. Toby
How do you
Keeler.
do? How do you do, Mr. Keeler?
Tony.
Hi, Obie.
Where's our director? Late. He's not here yet. Well, that's fine. I need a little practice anyway.
Oh, good.
Wait for me.
Who is that?
Louise Fazenda. She's in this cast,
Oh,
too.
Hello, everybody. What are you doing?
Louise,
Huh?
meet Bobby Jones, Miss Fazenda.
But, Mr. Jones! Oh, I'm thrilled to meet you. You know, I brought all my things with me. We are going to play, aren't we?
Well, I don't know. I was just going to practice a little bit.
Oh, that's all right.
We've got to do something about that.
Now, Mr. Jones, I have trouble, you see, on in the middle. What do you do?
Louise, if you don't mind, we came here to see Mr. Jones practice.
Oh, pardon me. Well, go ahead.
But, Louise, dear, you're supposed to be quiet.
Oh, well, I won't say a word. Just go ahead. Oh, I hit another one. Hit anything.
Well, now, Bobby, before we were interrupted, Jimmy and I were just wondering how you felt about practice. You know, most fellows just like to play all the time, and, well, we wondered if you believe in a whole lot of practice.
Yes, I do. And the right kind of practice is just as interesting as playing. I never go on a practice tee unless I have a definite purpose in view, some correction to make. And I continue only so long as I can keep my mind on what I'm doing. Now, that sort of practice is never tiresome, and it's the only kind that does any good at all.
Mr. Jones, I noticed when you played that mash and niblick shot that the ball broke from right to left, had a little hook on it. Will that kind of shot stop just as quickly as one played the other way, from left to right?
Well,
Yes, it will, for all practical purposes, whenever I'm able to take anything like a full swing with a club. Sometimes, on a very short shot, when it is necessary to stop the ball very quickly, I lay the face of the club off a bit and cut across the ball slightly. But I find, with every iron club, for a shot longer than the one I'm playing now, I have better control if I play the shot from right to left, because it doesn't fly so high.
Oh, Bob, you said just now that when you go out to practice, you always have a definite purpose in mind. Would you mind telling us some of the things you have trouble with?
Well, with the medium irons and short irons, the trouble that I have most often is failing to cut my wrists at the top. I'm inclined sometimes to hang on to the club a little bit too tightly so that I don't get that nice rhythm. Now, you watch my hands when I play this shot, you see what I mean. I like to be able to feel the head of the club all the way through the stroke. Unless I use my wrist freely, my swing loses all of its snap, and I have neither power nor control. Now, with the longer irons, number 1, for example, I sometimes find myself snatching the club back. Take it back so fast that it upsets the balance. I find that I always hit the ball better if my backswing is very leisurely, almost lazy, like this. Now watch these two shots at actual normal speed. At the top of the swing, you'll observe that for a fraction of a second, there's a pause as the club changes direction. The same swing in slow motion shows how a slow backswing lessens the danger of starting downward too quickly. It is very necessary for the player to be perfectly balanced when he starts hitting. Of course, Tony, I don't mean to say that the things I've been discussing apply only to the particular clubs I've been using. I'm simply trying to show you where these faults are most likely to crop up in my own game. Now, whenever I find myself hooking badly with a wood club, spoon, I can usually trace the trouble to my left side. I find it resisting the stroke instead of actually leading it through the ball, like this. In this swing, a turn of the hips is free and ahead of the rest of the stroke. Whenever the left hip locks itself or refuses to move out of the way, it keeps the left side and arm from pulling through as they should. I like to feel that I'm hitting a backhand blow, with the right hand catching up with the left only at impact.
Mr. Jones, I notice that your backswing is very long. Do you think there's any danger for the average player in swinging back too far?
No, I don't. I think the average golfer would be far better off if he would forget all about overswinging. Now watch the length of my swing with the driver. The trouble with most of them is that they don't take the club back far enough. Now, I like the backswing to be long enough so that I have plenty of time to get speed on the club head before it meets the ball, without giving me any tendency to jump at it. When I go out for length, I swing the club back well beyond the horizontal. I like to let the backswing go just as far as it can go comfortably. The full turn of the hips and the elevation of the hands give me full command of all the power I possess, and I have plenty of time to reach full speed by the time I hit the ball. If my backswing was shorter, I should find it more of an effort to strike with the same force.
Hey, Bob, the gang here been wondering why you sort of cock your head to one side and seem to look at the ball out of your left eye. Is there any particular reason for that?
Well, Ike, that's the thing that I've done naturally all my life. I don't look at the ball with either my left eye or my right eye. I don't stare at any particular spot on it. I'm merely conscious of its location. I think that the position of my head is more important than any consideration of the left eye. Because if you'll notice my swing, when I hit the ball, my head is back this way. I simply find it easier to swing the club with my head in that position.
Morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. Morrison. Sorry to be late. Well, let's go to work. All right, what's the first setup?
Long shot with Bob on the front of the tee there, figuring for the driver.
Okay.
Yep. All right, Tony.
Let's go, boys. Work's over here.
All right, Tony. Thank you.
Mr. Marshall, I didn't have time to get my breakfast. Shall I get it now?
Well, you better wait till
George.
a while. Minute.
Is something wrong? Are we going to play now?
Yeah. You're going to play right now, Louise.
All right.
And now you've got to hit a ball in the first scene.
Yeah.
So I want you to take this little thing and go right over there on the practice fairway and just try hitting it for a little while.
All by myself?
Yeah, and we'll call you when we're ready
Now,
for you.
don't you look, because I
Uh-huh.
get nervous. Ah, don't it look lonesome all by itself? Now, don't look now.
Hopeless.
Oh. It's my hips again. My hips.
I'm sorry, Bob. I thought Louise knew something about the game.
You don't mean golf, do you?
No cracks.
There!
Sorry, but we have to go get new stories.
Where y'all going? Are we gonna play anymore? Oh, Mr. Jones!
Watch for the next episode, A Round of Golf, in the Bobby Jones series, How I Play Golf, coming to your theater soon.
Those of you who have been good enough to follow us through this little series know that in each preceding episode, we have confined ourselves to explaining the use of one particular club or the playing of one particular shot. Now we're going to try to put together for you a complete round of golf in order to show you the relation of one club to the other. Of course, we shall have to take certain liberties in order to cover in 10 minutes on the screen what would ordinarily require 2.5 to 3 hours in the playing. But O.B. Keeler will escort you around the course, and I will step in here and there to explain a shot which I think may be interesting.
Well, here's a typical Saturday afternoon four-ball match on the first tee. One pair have driven. That was Bobby's partner. And here comes Bobby. He rather likes to drive last in a pair. He likes to see what his partner's done. But I don't think he's going to take any chances with this shot. No, he gave it a ride. He looks pleased. And there they go on a round of golf. Well, that was a good drive. It was out in front, but he's still got a big shot left, and I don't think he's going to reach the green with this one. He's got the heavy artillery, the old brassy, and he hit that one, but he's not home yet. I think he's got about a Mashiniblick shot left. Yes, it's a Mashiniblick pitch. The ball's in the air. It's coming down, it's on the green, and it's rolling up where he can kick it in for a birdie 4. Tell us how you did that, Bob.
Whenever I'm able to use anything like a full swing, I play a Mashiniblick in a perfectly straightforward way. That is, I make no effort to cut across the ball in order to stop it quickly. Notice that the club turns over normally after striking the ball, and that no effort has been made to keep the face open. A putt of about 12 feet. This view shows my putting grip with both thumbs down the shaft and the overlap reversed. Watch the left wrist and notice that it yields to the stroke as the club comes through. When this wrist locks fast, it means trouble.
It looks as if a birdie isn't much good in this game. Mr. Jones and partner still driving last. Well, of course, it's just possible they may have been giving up a couple of strokes. It's a long ways to that green, and that looks a bit high. Big iron coming up. And here she comes. How about that, Bob?
In this shot, I think the position at the top reveals a lot. The left arm is perfectly straight, and its full extension has made the arc of the swing very wide. The hips have turned full around, the wrists are cocked, and the hands are high. Each one of these factors means more power in the stroke. And notice that even when playing an iron, I use quite a long backswing.
If you're smart, you'll never look at a regular shot from this angle. Boy, I'd hate to have to duck many like that one. Uh-oh, in a bunker, his pet shot. They ought to give him that one.
I always play this shot with the face of my niblick laid off a bit, just to provide a factor of safety. There's plenty of wrist action in the stroke, and when the blade takes the sand back of the ball, the head of the club is doing most of the work. I like to fling the club head at the ball to avoid the shock which I feel if I grip too tightly.
Well, let's see. Did they give it to him? Yep, but I think he could have made it anyway with two hands. Must have shoved this drive out a bit, or else they moved the trees around in front of the ball. Another niblick shot. This has to go up fast and come down fast. We can see it better from here. There she comes, right over the trees, a high, steep pitch with lots of backspin. Didn't roll much, did it?
Although this shot has to be elevated very quickly, the stroke is still downward, as you can tell by watching the turf fly. It is fatal to try to lift a shot like this. In putting, I think it helps to stand comfortably, with the feet close together and the knees relaxed. I like to feel that my body is free to move if there should be the least need for it. I never like to hold it as in a vice. Of course, this putt is in slow motion, but I think the whole thing, the movement of the ball even, conveys just the impression I like to have before me, of the club sweeping the ball slowly across a fast green.
Here's a one-shot hole, and Bobby is using a number 4 iron off the tee. 165 yards and 5 seconds in the air, and here's the ball on the green. Looks easy enough.
In playing a shot like this, when I'm not hitting very hard, I have to be very careful of the left arm to see that it does not relax before impact. A full cock of the left wrist at the top of the swing helps me to do this.
And here's a mean one. A 40-foot putt with a double break. And it was a putt almost exactly like this one that Bobby holed on the last green in winning the 1930 Open Championship of the United States at Interlaken. Well, maybe it wasn't as tough as this one. This ball seems to slide up the hill before it starts to slide down. And he hit it just a bit too high. It's not quite going to make it, but it's awfully close.
This is a full drive, and I want you to notice the length of the backswing. The club passes well beyond the horizontal at the top of the stroke. I like to tee the ball fairly high and hit it squarely in the back. I find that I get more length in this way than I do if I tee the ball lower and hit it down. Sometimes from short distances, a little pitch and run shot with a mashie is far safer than a pitch. In playing this shot, the backswing should be comparatively long, and the ball should be swept along the ground.
The drive from the last tee, and Bobby needs a big wallop here. He gave it all he had. It's a long hole, 500 yards. That looks as if it's a little more than halfway there, but he'll still need a big brassy shot if he's going to get home. I wonder how the match stands. Here's the old brassy.
In playing a brassy, the most common mistake is to try to lift the ball into the air. This view shows the hips shifting forward as a downstroke begins, and the weight settling on the left leg at the finish. The speed of the ball and the loft of the club should be trusted to make the shot rise.
And here she comes. Can you see the ball? Going over the bunker, onto the green. That brassy shot was exactly 243 yards, and the ball is just a yard from the stick. That is, it's a yard if some opponent doesn't sink one of these long putts, and this man looks as if he's going to have a good try for it. You know how a long putt will stretch your own out after the ball is in the can. He's taking a lot of pains. All right, let's have it. There goes the ball, and it looks like a good putt. Ouch! Now Bobby will have to sink his sure for a half. Now this chap, it doesn't matter whether he sinks it or not. Bobby's partner is out, picked up, but he's going to try just as hard as he can anyway. A little short. Now, Bobby, this is important. Down she goes. The round is over, and a pleasant time was had by all.
Well, I guess that's all. But I would like to say just a few more words before we go. The main title of this series has been How I Play Golf. This title was chosen carefully, and it was intended to mean something. For while I've tried to explain the methods which I employ in playing the various shots, I do not mean to insist that these methods are the only ones, or even that they are the best. But I do think that there are certain fundamentals which are the same for all golfers. And in making my explanations, I have tried to separate these fundamentals from mannerisms which might be peculiar to my own individual style, in order that what I had to say might be of general application. The average golfer is not interested in winning championships. The chief benefits of the game for him must be recreation and the companionship of congenial friends. But it seems to me that that is little excuse for playing the game in a haphazard way. I have always thought that if a game was worth playing at all, it was worth making some effort to play it correctly.
Well, we're all square.
Did you line the ball? Oh, yeah. Here it is. Let me have a nibbling. Nothing to worry about.
Swell.
Come on, Joe, everything's all right.
Wait a minute! Wait a minute! I never give up.
What's the trouble, Joe?
Will you show me how to get out of here?
Oh, come on, let's don't bother with that. The match is all even.
No, sir, I'm not going till I get that ball out of here.
All right, I'll get it out for you.
Will you? Okay.
Now, come on.
Oh, prittle-prattle.
That might help.
Well, that dug him out finally.
That's great. Let me see that card. I don't know whether we're even or not. You must have enjoyed yourself today, Bob.
Oh, Andy, I had a fine time. Joe did all the work.
Yeah. Worst game of golf I ever played in my life.
Oh, you've played before?
Oh. Very funny. Bob, what's the matter with me?
Oh, I don't know, Joe. You had a lot of fine exercise today, didn't you?
Yeah. I can have a lot of exercise dressing dolls. But seriously, what's the matter with my game? What's the matter with our game? Look, we play 3 or 4 times a week. Work hard at it. Look at this score. 95, 97, and 101. Now, why don't we improve?
Well, those scores are the scores of the average golfer. I wouldn't be too discouraged about it. You can't really expect to play better unless you learn the fundamentals of the correct swing.
Now, let me give you a picture of the way you fellas look to me today. Andy actually appeared to be trying not to hit the ball, the way he pulled in his club on every swing. Vic was trying to overcome the ball by main force, rather than by swinging the club. And you, Joe, had your games a little mixed up. You forgot it was yesterday that you played baseball.
Well, if that's a true picture of me, I might as well throw my clubs in the river.
Well, I shouldn't look at it quite that way. But see here, Joe, not one of you three men has ever set out to learn anything about the golf swing. When you took up golf, you simply grabbed a club and said, let's play. Now, why don't you go after golf in the same way that you would anything else that you wanted to do well? Begin at the beginning. Now, what's the first thing you do when you start out to hit a golf ball?
Well, I take hold of the club.
Well, that's exactly right, and it's exactly the place where we should begin. The important thing about the grip is to place the two hands on the club in such position that they can work together. Practically all of the movements of the hands and wrists throughout the swing are contained in an action similar to that which would raise the club from the position of address over the right shoulder. In fact, a very good position at the top of the swing can be attained by making just two motions. The first, a simple turn of the body without moving the hands. The second, raising the arms with the hand and wrist action that I've described. In an actual swing, of course, these movements are blended into easy, leisurely motion. Here you can see that up to this point, the hands and wrists have had very little to do with the movement of the club head. But at the next stop, the wrists are fully cocked. This sort of swing would not be possible unless the hands were correctly placed upon the club. The left hand should be placed on top of the shaft. As I look down, I can see three knuckles. This places the left arm in a powerful position where it can swing through the ball. The left arm must be capable of communicating to the club the power generated in the midsection of the body. This it cannot do unless it is free to swing completely through. Here, even after the ball has left the face of the club, the left arm is still going, and you can still see the back of the hand. It is a very serious mistake to have the left hand too much under the shaft, for in this position, it is impossible to complete a proper backswing. It likewise, in hitting a ball, forces the left elbow into the side so that the player cannot possibly swing through. At the top of the swing, the toe of the club should be pointing toward the ground. Both hands should be under the shaft, and the right elbow should be down. To make this possible, the right hand should be placed against the side of the shaft, where it will not hinder the correct cocking of the wrist at the top of the swing, and in such position that it can strike a sort of slapping blow like this without closing the face of the club too quickly. Contrary to the belief held by most average golfers, the right hand does not begin to climb or roll over the left until after the ball has been struck.
Say, Bob, how about that business of changing your right-hand grip from there to there to correct a hook or a slice?
Well, Vic, I think that's a very serious mistake. Of course, placing the right hand under the shaft favors a hook or tends to correct a slice, whichever way you choose to put it. But a golfer's sense of control is in his hands. He should learn the correct grip and stay with it. This is the one thing that he should never change after he gets it right. Many beginners are like Joe. They want to grip a golf club like a baseball bat entirely in the palms of both hands. To have any control, then, they must squeeze hard and tighten up the muscles of the arms. Others who have heard that the club should be gripped by the fingers attempt to hold it in the fingers alone. The club should be gripped mainly by the fingers, but the shaft should lie obliquely across the hands. The fingers should twine around the shaft, allowing the additional spread to give greater power and facility of movement because of the increased leverage. I also prefer the overlapping grip because it affords a feeling of compactness which helps the two hands to work as one.
But, Bob, I don't use the overlapping grip as you do. Does that make any difference?
Not in the least. I'm merely talking about the position of the hands on the club, and it applies equally to the overlapping, interlocking, or even the old-fashioned grip.
How's that, Bob?
That's a lot better, Vic.
Yeah, that's the old-fashioned.
Well, that's about enough for today, I think.
But, Bob, about taking lessons, I'd travel around the country most of the time, and I'd get different instruction from every pro I went to.
No, you wouldn't, Andy. The last few years, the Professional Golfers Association has spent a good bit of money and effort in making available to their members accurate information concerning the golf swing. And you'll find a pretty general agreement among them on fundamentals. Well, thanks a lot, boys. I enjoyed the game. We'll have another one soon.
Thanks you, Bob.
Good night, Robert. Speaking of old-fashioned...
I get you.
Never mind getting me, get it. Feels much better.
Should. Hurry up with those setups, Deacon.
I guess that'll be all for today, boys.
I have given you the important requirements to be met in order to grip the club correctly. I hope it will be of help to you. Remember that any changes you make will seem awkward at first, but practice will overcome this. Don't be too easily discouraged. In the next episode of this series, I will describe the correct manner of addressing the ball and of beginning the backswing.
Hello, dear.
Huh.
Mother, who is that man?
That's only your father, son. He's a golfer. Now, you be a good boy and stay right here, and Mother'll be back. Have you seen the paper?
No, and I don't want to see the paper.
There's something in here I think you'd enjoy.
Oh, I wouldn't enjoy anything.
Dinner's ready.
I don't want any dinner. Go away and leave me alone.
KFWB, Hollywood, continuing our television broadcast.
Will you turn that thing off?
We again take pleasure in presenting Bobby Jones in another episode of his golf series, How to Break 90. Come on, Bob.
Right here, O.B. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Out on the golf course this afternoon, I chanced upon an old friend whose golf game was making him very unhappy. When he was not looking, I took the liberty of having made of him a slow-motion picture, which I shall use to emphasize a few points which I'd like to discuss.
Huh. It's me. I don't look so bad over that ball.
Here he is, Guy Kibbe, a study in concentration. But you can see that he isn't comfortable. The very effort he is making to arrange everything exactly right is making his job more difficult. If there is a watchword or slogan which a golfer ought always to remember, it is avoid tension. And it is at the very beginning of the swing, before the action is commenced, that he is most likely to tighten up. If he tries too hard to assume any prescribed or perfectly definite posture, he is not likely to be free from strain. His first position should be as natural and comfortable as he can possibly make it. In addressing the ball, the body is held fairly erect, and the arms hang down naturally from the shoulders, not extended too much, nor cramped in against the side of the body. The weight should be about evenly distributed on the balls of the 2 feet. The knees should be slightly bent, and the whole attitude should be one of alertness, from which easy movement in any direction is possible. Relaxed muscles can move quickly and easily. Taut muscles cannot. The golf swing requires quick muscular responses in order to produce a smooth flow of movement and to assure a perfect balance of the body even when the action becomes very rapid. It seems a little thing, but it is a fact that the player's approach to the ball can assist him greatly in falling comfortably into a relaxed posture. Continuous movement allows no time for the muscles to set. Here is the first step. Having approached to just a sufficient distance from the ball so that the club can reach it easily. The club is grounded so that it will furnish a measure of the distance from the player to the ball when he steps into position. A look towards the hole or down the fairway, and the left foot swings into position. The proper line has been determined. The placing of this foot fixes the player's location with respect to the ball. The stance is completed when the right foot drops back into position. Meanwhile, one leisurely waggle and a little twist of the hips to break up whatever tension may have crept in, and away we go. Although there are certain features of stance and posture which must be arranged before a correct swing can be accomplished, the requirements are never so precise that they cannot be adjusted to the needs of the individual. The average golfer rarely completes the hip turn during the backswing, largely because he has not made provision for it at the start. When he spreads his feet and sets himself, he destroys his ability to turn. Standing in this way, with both toes turned slightly outward and the feet not too far apart, the hip turn can be made quite easily. A tremendous amount of power can be obtained from a full wind-up of the hips, and this is only possible when the stance and posture are so arranged that there is perfect freedom around the waist. The leg and foot movement, which makes this full turn possible, is a thing which the average golfer rarely trusts himself to attempt. It is easier to continue a movement once begun than it is to make the beginning. So in order to encourage the hips to turn during the backswing, they are called on to originate the movement. The club must be swung back and not merely picked up by the hands and arms. And the thing which makes it a swing is a push backward by the left side and arm. Just when the swing is ready to start back, there appears a queer little movement of the hips and legs, which is usually referred to as a forward press. The hips twist forward a bit before beginning their turn away from the ball. This is added insurance against tension and a means of starting the hips to moving. You've probably seen this position a number of times, particularly with beginners. It's the result of moving the head backward during the backswing and transferring all the weight to the right foot. The other common fault is to leave too much weight on the left foot during the backswing in this way, so that when the downswing is attempted, all the weight goes back to the right foot. I find it very helpful in order to assure proper handling of the body during the backswing to feel that the weight rolls off the left foot over to the inside of the foot, like this. At the same time, the left knee bends and moves over towards the right, and the right leg begins to straighten as the hip on that side is thrust backward. Not all of the weight is transposed to the right foot, but the player has stayed back of the ball where he can move his body into the swing as he hits through. If the weight moves towards the toe of the left foot and the knee bends in this way, the player will arrive at the top of his swing with too much weight on that foot. The chief trouble with Guy here is that he does not swing the club back in the manner I have described. Instead, he quite definitely lifts it up, and when he attempts to hit the ball, his body is moving away from it.
So that's what's been the matter with me, huh? Well, a very nice comparison. Yes, sir. Thanks, Bobby, old boy, old boy, old boy. That's all I wanted to know. Will I take 'em now? Oh, my clubs! Oh, why did I do that?
I'm not trying to tell you that golf is an easy game, but you can make it a lot easier and get lots more fun out of it if you will keep relaxed and swing the club head. In the next episode, I'm going to say something about a part of the swing in which the average golfer is most likely to be at fault: the use of the hips and body.
Needn't be afraid to hit it, Bob. Distance is very deceiving.
All right, Bill, thanks. I'll try brushing.
Land of Goshen. But I don't believe it. Well, I still don't believe it.
Bob, what makes me sore is to play 14 holes, close to par as I have today, and then all of a sudden go to pieces.
Well, Bill, no man ever had golf so much under his thumb that he could be certain of hitting every shot perfectly. Even the best players make their share of mistakes. The only thing we can strive for is an understanding of the fundamentals of the swing, which will enable us to correct our faults when they make their appearance.
We'll give you that one, Bill. Thanks.
It's a lie. I still don't believe it.
Hello, Bill. What's the matter, Bill?
You look a little discouraged. Bobby, you've spoiled my whole day. I've given up golf.
Oh, it can't be that bad.
It's worse. You know, you don't deserve any credit hitting the ball with that swing of yours.
Try to hit one with my swing.
Well, you do that pretty well.
Oh, well, I've devoted a lot of time to it.
Well, maybe if you gave a little time to your golf game, you'd play better.
That's an idea.
Go over there and hit a ball for me.
You want to laugh?
No, I want to see if I can help you.
You brought it on yourself? There you are. Go ahead.
Well, Bill, your trouble, like most average golfers, is that you don't use your body properly. You don't get enough power out of the muscles in your back. You try to turn your hips and body, but it is plain that you don't quite understand how to convert the body turn into club head speed. Obviously, Bill, the immediate cause of your trouble is the way in which you swing the club through. That is, in the way you hit the ball. But it's useless to try to correct that until we're certain that what goes before is all right. The average golfer argues that the backswing makes little difference because he does not hit the ball with his backswing. But the answer is easy, that he can't swing through correctly unless his swing back brings him into a correct posture. Consistency in golf depends directly upon form. An unsound swing may work well enough on occasions, but soundness of method is the only key to reliable performance. A proper position at the top of the swing is worth some study in order to make clear what the backswing should accomplish. To show the full extent of the backward windup, two positions would have to be used because there's no point at which all parts of the swing stop going up and begin to come down. The hips actually move forward while the club is still going back. For this reason, it is likely to be misleading to draw too definitely a line of separation between backswing and downswing. The two should be merged as nearly as possible into one. Nevertheless, it is possible to stop a continuous motion long enough to examine a position through which it passes. The important points here are the wind-up of the hips and body, the extension of the left arm, and the cock of the wrist, indicated by the angle between the left arm and the shaft of the club. Now let's see how the backswing arrives at these positions. Adjusting the ball as I do, about opposite the toe or instep of the left foot, there's no perceptible lateral movement of the hips during the backswing. I am already well behind the ball, where I can move into the shot as I swing through. The turn of the body takes place approximately around the spine as an axis, and the head does not move appreciably either sidewise or in an up and down direction. Many players make the mistake of ducking or lowering the left shoulder during the backswing. This shoulder does move around under the chin, but it does so naturally as the body turns on an inclined axis. In completing the turn of the hips, the weight moves forward to the inside of the toe of the left foot and backward to the outside of the heel of the right foot. The turn should be continued until a real stretch is felt in the right leg. The extension of the left arm limits the width of the arc which the backswing can follow. If the left arm is not taut, its extension is indefinite, and the swing may go anywhere. But if it is fully extended, the arc of the swing will be as wide and therefore as long as possible, allowing the greatest time to gain speed before impact. The left arm must be straight at impact. It is possible to straighten it during the downswing, but the more certain and therefore more consistent method is to keep it reasonably straight from the start. The best way to assure a full extension of the left arm is to use it in pushing the club back, not independently of the body turn, but assisted by the movement of the entire left side. The movement of the right arm during the first part of the backswing indicates quite clearly that it is taking little part in the action. But then, after swinging round, it begins to help in lifting the club over the shoulder. the elbow is drawn away from the side of the body, but it remains below the club and never appears likely to begin flapping like the wing of a frightened bird. Well, try that for a while, Bill. I think it'll make you hit the ball better. Now, come on, let's go in.
I'm going to stick around here a little while, Bobby. Thank you just the same.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bill.
And I still don't believe him. It's born in him.
Up to this point, we have learned to grip the club properly so that the correct swing can be made. We have seen how important it is to keep relaxed when addressing the ball. And in this episode, we have seen the backward wind-up completed in a way which makes it possible to use every ounce of energy the player possesses. In the next episode, we will start the downswing off right so that none of this power will be wasted.
Match of record was played about the year 1680, when the Duke of York, afterward King James II of England, defended the Scottish championship claims against two English noblemen. The Duke selected as his partner an Edinburgh shoemaker, a golfer of lasting qualities. And it was a bad day for good old England. One of the nobles is about to putt-putt. He stoops to conquer. Don't go too far there, Noble. Remember, them tights is tight, and your others won't be back until Saturday. He misses. Odds bodkins, gadzooks, which in those days were harsh words. Well, it's up to the old shoemaker. He and the king go into a huddle. The signal is passed. They decide to use formation B, the old boy being slightly bow-legged. He's on the 5-yard line. The crowd is tense, and so are those pants. He makes it. Hi-ho and alack-a-day. There goes merry England. The shoemaker put the boots to him. The championship stays in Scotland. Play to the last hole for a penny, says the noble. What hole, says the king, and the game was on again. That form, that hat, that wig, them boots, every inch a king. Boom! He did knock the stuffing out of that one, but the ball was made of feathers, which had its ups and downs. Uh-oh. But feathers were cheap because chickens could be picked up for nothing, especially by a king. But after all, it was the shoemaker who put the game in the bag. And you may rest assured, dear friends, that he took care of all the heels at court from that day on.
This was a ball used until 1847 when the gutty made its appearance. And the old gutty was welcomed with open arms. Many people were on the point of giving up golf because the old feathery was too expensive.
I'd have given it up, too, if I had to play with those things. I have enough trouble with the equipment we have today. Did you ever see such an exhibition as I put on this afternoon?
Well, Dick, you don't know how lucky you are. You only have a few things to worry about. The average golfer has many. The most serious single mistake you make, Dick, is in failing to start your weight moving toward your left foot before you begin to turn your hips. Watch how your body moves away from the ball as you hit it. Good form in golf means efficiency, the art or science of expending upon the ball all of the energy of the swing without waste. In order to accomplish this ideal, it is necessary that every movement of the swing contribute its bit towards accelerating the club head. The swing can never be entirely efficient unless all parts are working together. The function of the backswing is to wind up the mechanism, to store up power, and to do it in such a way that the transition from upswing to downswing can be accomplished smoothly and without interruption. It is the business of the downswing to use this stored-up energy in the most effective way possible, in turning it into a well-directed, well-timed blow. If the downswing should be started with the hands or arms so that either should forge ahead of the hip turn, the extension up the left side would be destroyed, and the effect of the unwinding of the body would be lost. It would be like pulling with a slack rope. The ideal, in order to produce a straight flying shot, is to strike a true blow directed exactly towards the objective. But the right hand can, and very often does, play havoc with this intention. The average golfer has difficulty in subduing this hand sufficiently at the top of the swing when he turns himself loose to hit hard. The natural impulse is to hit with it from the top of the swing. But the correct movement keeps the swing well inside the line of flight, whence it can strike the ball squarely in the back. Instead of forcing the club to swing over and cut across the ball from the outside, the right arm should drop straight down, almost as one piece, until the elbow is again close to the side of the body. There must be no attempt to throw the club head from the top of the swing with the hands and wrists. They must be saved for use later on. The first movement of the downswing is a lateral movement of the hips forward towards a hole or other objective. The wind-up of the hips during the backswing has turned the body around until the back is almost square to the direction of play. The shift forward takes place before any turning movement is evident. It is only a matter of a few inches, but it serves to start the flow of weight in the right direction. The backward turn away from the ball is started from the left foot, but the forward movement originates with a push off the right foot. The entire body moves a little bit forward before the hips begin to unwind. These little discs in the horizontal line will help us to examine the transition from upswing to downswing, which makes the whole business one continuous motion. At this point, the wind-up of the hips has been completed, but the club is still going back, and the wrists have not attained their full angle of cocking. Between this position and the next stop, three important things will happen. The hips will shift forward until a part of the white disc will be covered. The club head will drop below the horizontal line, and the hands will rise slightly above the head. The midsection of the body has started back towards the ball before the backswing of the club has been completed. A pronounced stretching is felt up the left side from the hip to the hands. The rope has been pulled taut, and now the turning movement of the hips can have its effect directly upon the club. That the wrists have kept relaxed and have responded to the movement is shown by the more acute angle between the left arm and the shaft of the club. This stretch from left hip to left hand is necessary in order to communicate the movement of the hips and waist to the club head. During the first part of the downswing, the shoulders, arms, and club move as one piece, and the full angle at which the wrists have been cocked is retained. The pull exerted from the left hip as the unwinding progresses is quite definitely felt. The downswing develops a very high speed by the time it reaches a ball, but the acceleration should be gradual in order to retain control and preserve balance. It helps a lot to realize that there is plenty of time. A backswing of ample length and a leisurely start downward will avoid a peck of trouble. The important thing to remember in all this is that the body must move into the stroke and contribute to its power. Under no circumstances should the weight be moving backward as the club is coming down.
Well, I see what you mean, all right, Bobby, but the next thing is to do it.
Well, of course, I shouldn't expect you to go straight out and do it. It will require some practice, but you will enjoy practicing when you know you are making progress.
It looks like we started something with this game of golf.
Your Majesty, the wee lad there would certainly have made you a better partner.
I'm no bad myself. Right you are, lad. That was a wee bit of luck you had.
Well, they may have improved the game.
But they've certainly ruined the Scotch.
Before we go any further, I want to be absolutely sure that no golfer who has seen this picture will fail to appreciate the importance of starting the downswing in the manner I've described, by moving the hips first. This order of movement is a part of the method of every first-class golfer whose swing I've examined. And in my own case, I can say quite definitely that it is almost a determining factor in my game. When I'm playing badly, I can usually find the trouble right here. Next time, impact.
No, Harvey. Wait a minute. That ain't what I told you. Get over on your right foot where you can give it some impact.
I know, but it don't feel...
Now, listen to me. Haven't I been playing golf for 25 years? I know what I'm talking about. Now, your right foot. Now, go on now. That's it.
Well, I'll try it, but it don't feel right.
Now, that's it. Now, that's the way. That's the way.
There's an example of what we were talking about. A man with plenty of physical strength but doesn't know how to use it.
Oh, here. Let me show you. Now, see? Your right foot. That way, see? Now, that's it. Well, that ain't exactly the way I meant it. You see, my feet are sort of bothering me today, but now you try it again, Harvey. Go on now, try it again. No, Reach! Wait a minute! Not that way! You know better than to try to hit a ball like that. After all I've been telling you for the last week, you don't improve a bit.
Say, Harv, there's Bob. Let's go over. Come on.
Lodi, I listen to you. I try to do what you tell me. If you let me alone, I could hit it.
Oh, let you alone, eh? That's all the thanks one gets for trying to help you. All right. I'll let you alone. Well, you had your own way. Now, you know, I only wanted to help you. You know, it's just out of the goodness of my heart. I know all about this, all about playing golf, you know. Now, if you'd only take your right foot, we'll say, and get it so that you get all the weight on the...
Howdy, boys.
Hello, Harvey.
Getting a little workout, Bob?
Yes, Guy, hitting a few.
Hello, Bob.
Hello, Harv. How you going?
Oh, not so well. Did you see that last shot?
Saw your swing. Sliced, didn't it?
Yeah, sure. How'd you know?
You stayed back on your right foot too long.
What?
Stayed back on your right foot too long.
Doggone, that's what that Odie's been telling me to do for the last 16 holes.
Well, Harv, I shouldn't blame it all on Odie. If you'd stop to think, you'd realize you can't get any power in the stroke unless you move your weight with the swing. You know, the critical part of the swing takes place in that fraction of a second during which the club and ball are in contact. If everything is all right then, the shot will be good. The only reason we bother with form and the correct swing is to find the best way of consistently bringing about the proper set of conditions at impact. It helps a great deal both to the understanding of the correct swing and the accomplishment of it to have a clear picture of what ought to be happening at this instant. There are three important conditions which have to be fulfilled at the instant of impact in order to produce a perfect straight-flying shot. They are, first, that the face of the club should be aligned truly to the hole or other objective. Second, that the club head should be moving exactly along the line of the intended flight of the ball. And third, that the club should be traveling at its maximum speed. In other words, that the stroke should be well timed. The alignment of the face of the club is one of those things which are controlled almost entirely subconsciously. If the fingers maintain throughout the swing a positive though relaxed hold upon the club so that it cannot turn in the hands, the swinging of the club along the proper line and the correct timing of the stroke will of themselves bring the face of the club up square to the ball. One of the most difficult things for the average golfer to do is to keep the club from moving over to the outside and coming across the line of flight as he hits the ball. This happens when the downswing is started with the hands or when the hips begin to turn before the flow of weight has started back to the left foot. The result is either a bad slice if the face of the club is open when it hits the ball, or a pull or smothered hook if it is turned over too soon. This, in effect, is what Harvey does. He doesn't turn his hips enough during the backswing, and then he cuts across the ball with a stroke that is nearly all right-handed. The club face is open, so he slices badly. By starting the downswing with a movement of the hips, and by dropping the right elbow back to the side of the body, the correct swing keeps the club well inside the line of play. This is the only position from which it is possible to swing through straight toward the hole. After the first forward shift of the hips, the body begins to unwind, and the right elbow remains close to the side of the body. The left hip continues to lead the turn and exert its pull through the left arm to the hands and club. The player who uses his hands as a means of beginning a downswing arrives at the point where he's ready to let go and suddenly discovers he has nothing left to hit with. His swing has lost its stinger. With the wrists already straightened out, he must make the effort with his arms and shoulders. The left arm is fully extended, and the wrists have lost only a tiny bit of the angle at which they were cocked at the top of the swing. This angle has begun to open gradually as the club head has gained speed. During the downswing, the hips must continue their turn until at impact they are well around, past their position at address. If a turn is stopped sooner, the left arm must collapse because it will not then be able to complete its swing through the ball. The final complete straightening of the left leg is important to both timing and power. As the left hip moves back, the leg snaps straight and the wrists are whipped open. This is a concluding effort of the swing and the determining factor in good timing.
You're absolutely right, Bob. That's what I've been trying to tell these boys, but they won't listen to me. Why, I've got an engagement up at the club. Pardon me, boys.
What happens after the ball has been struck is merely the result of what has gone before. A graceful pose at the finish is pleasant to look at, but it won't do the shot any good. In the next episode, I'm going to show some of the finer points of the game: intentional hooking and slicing, playing from difficult lies, and the application of backspin.
go to bed. I want to talk to Ed a while, huh?
You are coming now. You're not going to sit up again all night and talk golf, are you?
Quiet, please. Oh, all right. No, go ahead now. Just a couple little minutes. We'll be right along.
Come along, Sheila, dear.
Yeah, go on.
I still maintain that's a terrible course to play a tournament on. Just because a fella has a little bit of a slice.
Slice? You call that thing a slice? Looks like a rainbow to me.
I lasted longer than you did, didn't I?
Oh, I know, but I had a lot of hard luck. I couldn't hold my ball on the green. They're too hard.
Too hard. You know why you couldn't hold your ball on the green?
No, why?
Because you didn't put any backspin on it. I didn't have any trouble holding mine, did I?
Well, anybody could hold a ball on the green with that slice of yours.
That's so.
Will you two keep quiet?
All right. Always some guy in these sleepers that has something to say, huh? I know what it is. A tournament right in the bag and slice them. What I said about that course goes. It's just as bad for a man with a hook as just for my slice. It's unfair to the average golfer.
Will you listen to me just for a minute? I want to tell you something. Your hands are wrong and your grip is not right.
What's the matter with my hands? I've had that grip for 20 years.
Well, that's 20 years too long.
I beat the tar out of you, didn't I?
Will you two pipe down?
All right.
Now, let's be serious a minute. I can correct that for you if you'll just listen for a minute.
Oh, listen, nothing. I'll work it out for myself.
Yes, well, you won't live long enough.
If I was as old as you, I wouldn't know. What's the matter with my grip?
Say.
I've used that grip for, now it is.
Hello, Bob.
Oh, hello, Robbie.
Is there anything I can do to settle this argument so we can all get some sleep?
Yes, yes. Now, I've been trying to teach this bird how to correct his slice. But he won't listen to me. But if you tell him, well, perhaps you can keep him quiet. Will you listen to him?
To him, yes. Go to sleep.
Well, anything for the sake of peace.
Now, look, Bob, Ed says that my hands are wrong, and there's the grip that I've used for 20 years and more.
Wait a minute, Mac. Wait a minute.
All right.
I saw you this afternoon on the 11th hole just before your opponent sent you back to the clubhouse. And this is how you look. Your slice was brought about in this way. To begin with, you did not turn your hips enough during the backswing. Then, in starting down, your first movement brought the club over to your front, out beyond the path which it should have followed. And from there, you cut across the ball from the outside. You couldn't help slicing, swinging the club in that way. In order to hit a straight shot, the swing must be kept inside so that it can swing through straight toward the hole. This is a virtue which we intend to describe when we say a swing is compact. To slice or hook without the intention of doing so leads to plenty of trouble. But as a player becomes more expert, he ought to know how to turn the ball to right or left at will. Controlled shots of either kind are very useful in the wind or in swinging around bunkers and other obstructions, barring the way to the green. To play an intentional slice, the more skillful player sets out to do some of the things which the average golfer does without intention. To produce a slice, he must swing his club through on a line directed slightly to the left of the objective. Depending upon how much slice he wants, he moves a little farther back of the ball, opens his stance a bit, and lessens the turn of his hips during the backswing. In swinging through, he holds his weight back a little in order to direct his stroke across the line from the outside. The result is a slice, all right, but it is under control. The hook, which is a result of a faulty swing, is usually caused by turning the face of the club over before impact. But a controlled hook or draw cannot be played in this way. The swing which produces this kind of shot strikes the ball while crossing the line of flight from the inside out, with the face of the club approximately square to the objective or only slightly hooded. This is done almost entirely by the action of the hips and body. The ball is played a little nearer the right foot. The wind-up of the hips during the backswing is the same as usual, but the forward shift of the hips is exaggerated. The swing drops in close to the body and is directed outward through the ball. See what I mean, Mac?
I get you, Bob. And I wish it was tomorrow.
Well, see that you don't forget it. Bobby, I want you to tell me something.
Joe claims that the reason that I can't hold the green is because I don't put enough backspin on the ball. Now I hit the ball with plenty of elevation, and it goes good and high. But when it lands on the green, it keeps going and going and going and going. Now I claim it's because the greens are too hard.
Well, Eddie, those greens were fairly firm, but they would always hold a well-hit shot. Your trouble was that you didn't hit the ball down enough. The average golfer, when he has to play a quick stopping shot, finds it difficult to resist the impulse to hit the ball on the upstroke. He wants to help it into the air. But the stroke which produces backspin is directed downward and takes a divot from a turf after it strikes a ball. The elevation of a shot means little. The ball that is hit upward will fly high, but it will not stop quickly unless the greens are very soft. This shot, though not unusually high, was stopped quickly by the backspin. In playing this kind of shot, the cocking of the wrists is very important. If the wrists are not fully cocked and the angle retained until late in the downswing, a firm downward stroke will be impossible. It is a mistake, though, to think that a backspin shot has to be punched any harder than usual. The rhythm and timing are exactly the same. The descending blow and the loft of the club will take care of the spin. To direct the stroke downward is of equal importance in other situations, especially when playing from very close or downhill lies. These shots, too, the average golfer is inclined to try to hit on the upstroke, to pick them up cleanly. This is the reason he tops so many. Often the brassy can be used with effect from a very close lie, if the player only has courage enough to go for it. A slightly descending blow, skinning the turf in front of the ball, imparts a spin which makes the ball rise. Of course, when the lie is perceptibly downhill or hanging, a more lofted club may be necessary. This lie was fairly steep, but a good downward smash with a spoon got the ball up enough to clear a fair-sized tree less than 150 yards away. Even these wood club shots come up with backspin when they are hit down. Obviously, this is responsible for some loss of distance. When the ball is lying well and the maximum length is required, the brassy shot is played exactly like a drive from the tee.
Now see if you can remember it. Say, I've got it. Thanks, Bob. And I'm going right out to the end of the observation train and try it.
You'll get plenty of roll out there, Eddie.
No, Bob, the main thing is...
Now, this has gone far enough. Keeping the whole car awake with this golf talk.
I know, but Bob was just telling us.
Yes, he was just going to tell you to go to bed.
Well,
now, come on your way.
Good night, Bob.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
Good night. Good night.
I'm sorry, lady.
What's happening?
Hold on. You can't do that. I'm sorry, officer. Listen, dearie, it's all a mistake. I was just practicing.
A backspin, I suppose.
Oh, no. Now, hold on. No.
If you have seen all 6 of the pictures of this series, How to Break 90, you are now acquainted with all the essential movements of the correct swing. But the acquaintance cannot ripen into intimate friendship unless you do some work for yourself. Do not be ashamed to take your golf a little bit seriously. You don't have to be a crab or a crank in order to make a real effort to improve your game. Golf is so much more fun when it is played well. I am a firm believer in the value of professional instruction, not only for beginners, but also for better players, periodically when things go wrong. The main thing is to make certain that the instructor is a competent professional and not some impractical theorist. It will always be that some instructors will be better than others, but you can at least make sure that your teacher is entitled to call himself a professional golfer and is acquainted with sound methods of playing and teaching. The Professional Golfers Association of America, otherwise known as the PGA, is making a determined effort to make the teaching of golf a real profession with definite qualifications necessary in order to practice it. With your help, they will succeed. Please remember that nothing shown in these pictures is intended to be a tip or a quick remedy. If your swing is not right, overhaul it completely. Build it on a sound foundation. My aim is not to take a few average golfers out of their class, but to make the average of the whole somewhat better.